bullshit, and you know
But
it's some bullshit.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to our newest episode of Ampistrano. My name is D&D Jordan Lee, she, her, they pronouns, the creator, storyteller, producer, and I am once again joined by this absolutely phenomenal cast. Want to say a very quick thank you to our lovely mods that are keeping our community safe. 7 of 6, I see you, Lamia. Thank you so much. And those lurkers who I know we have some mods that do that. We appreciate you and keeping us safe. But before we dive into today's episode, we have a couple quick announcements to get through. First off, a very special thank you to our sponsors and affiliations, 1985 Games, Found Familiar, Tabletop Loot, and Friday Afternoon Tea. Make sure to use D&D Jordan Lee and AmpistranoDND when you check out for a percentage off your purchase, and it does help support the cast. Also, a massive thank you to Idol Champions. If you type in !idol into the chat, that should pop up with a code, which will give you an Electrum chest that you can use in that awesome game. So go check it out. But let's go around real quick and say hello to our lovely cast today. We have a smaller group today. And any announcements that you may have. Let's jump over to Duval.
hey everybody, my name is Jacob Blick, Duval King Jacob on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, whatever, wherever one can be found. That's Cooper in the background. If you can hear him, I don't know if you can, but he's here too. And today, as per usual, for last time for a little while, maybe playing Weldor. He's a total life cleric. He also used to see him pronouns. And what is happening, Fair? What is going on?
Oh, yeah, you just need to check chat.
Okay. It has begun. I've fair, well played, Buffy. Well played. Whew. Anyway, back to you, Jordan. Never mind whatever else I was going to say.
Oh my god, I saw it at the
Holy
same time that
shit.
Bear did.
I was
For those of you that are watching the VOD, someone put a change.org petition to keep Duval here. So good. Thank you so much, Duval. Sin, I need a minute.
Hi, my name is Sinziak, also encouraging you to once again lend your support for this change.org petition. Also, a writer of tabletop narrative bits, player of games, streamer here on this platform, Sinziak in all the places, including Twitter, I guess. And from the He Vampire, I am playing Blackstone, who is they, but he is also fine, as you will find referenced several times during the soon to be released interview between Jordan and myself. Also, tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Eastern, if I remember the times correctly, I will be hanging out with the good people of Emporium, who will be doing a bit of Family Feud. So if you would like to see me debut as a VTuber, that'll be the day to go and do that and watch me answer silly questions and have shenanigans. And finally, because I am going to probably be the first, but not the last person to say this, if you would just ever so kindly go to your web browser's address bar and therein type kofi.com/DND Jordan Lee, you could, for the price of a Starbucks coffee, have more adventures and other things that have both more flavor and last longer, if you would like to do that. So, go do the things. And that's all for me.
Thank you, Sin. And last but certainly not least, and again, the true owner of this channel, I'm just here. Fair.
I'm protesting, so I'm not going to introduce myself. I'm kidding. Hi, I'm Farron B. I play Diadora Shadeson. Our pronouns are she, her. You can find me on socials at Fairbear. Yes, including the one that we don't talk about anymore rather. I do recommend that you sign Fluffy's petition, especially because she made it after a joke that I made in the mod chat earlier. Which I love. Fluffy is so ride or die. Thank you so much, Fluffy. But also, yes, my announcement is sign the petition so Duval doesn't leave. And tell him to quit his other shows so he could stay with us. Thanks. Sparky says the same. And you don't want to disappoint this cute face.
This message has been Sparky approved. Thank you so much, Fair. We do commit to the bit here. Listen, and it is true.
That's a fucking
Fluffy
understatement.
is phenomenal. You should hire Fluffy for maps, but also if you want to be terrified in a Curse of Strahd game, because I know it's their favorite thing to run, go and hire Fluffy. Seriously, they're phenomenal.
Fluffy also has a podcast. It's called You Will Be Missed, MIST.
Yes.
It is a Curse of Strahd campaign. You should go listen. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, I was getting to that. You are phenomenal, Fair. I appreciate you.
You're taking too long.
Listen, it's valid. We do want to say a very quick and wish a big congratulations to the winners and nominees of the Crit Awards. A number of our friends won in their different categories, such as Sambros, Waffles, Maple Syrup, Dimples, and Dice. We had a special moment that won as well with our very own Farron, Syrup, Rogan, Mixlanti, Sambros, Nalawu, and myself for Best Crit, which occurred in the last Games for Change. So thank you so much for voting for us and all the nominees and for your support. Please go check out all the winners and nominees as well. They're going to be, I believe, tweeting about it in the next couple days once they get back from Gen Con. So be on the lookout for that. As we have, not so subtly hinted at, today is, unfortunately, Duval's last episode with us. Duval has been an absolute joy to play with us over these last few months. From a spot that was originally going to be 3 to 4 sessions, which has turned into 3 to 4 months, Duval has played an integral part in the story of Ampistrano. Through the eyes of Weldor and his team, we have seen the most recent chapter take shape. As we announced previously, this is Duval Weldor's last episode, but this is not a goodbye forever, merely a see you later. Duval and Weldor will be back for interludes, working with me behind the scenes, and occasionally popping in to reclaim their throne as the BBEG. Duval, thank you so much for everything and giving life to this wonderful character. We are so sad to see you go, but cannot wait to journey with you again beyond the veil of Ampistrano. And all of you, please go and support Duval and all the things. And also, maybe just poke at him to come back every once in a while. Duval, is there anything you wanted to say real quick?
In the form of Matthew.
I mean, sure. He can. He's welcome at every table. Matthew. If you don't know, that's my agent, Red Dragon. God, it's so funny because I was like, oh yeah, I should write something down, and it's like, dude, you're gonna be back in like a month probably because you love these chuckle fucks. No, genuinely, I will tell you, could not be more grateful to be here. What an absolute, super special, amazing journey this has been. And I can't wait to see where it goes next.
For sure. Sorry, just saw Fair's message in chat. Thank you so much. A couple quick things, and I promise you we are almost through it. Next week, we will be joined by our new full-time cast member, Dimples and Dice.
Let's go.
So stay tuned. If you're on our Patreon, you'll be able to get to see our lovely character art done by the phenomenal Gremlynnart. Go hire and support them as well. And we'll be meeting them next Saturday. So make sure you mark your calendars for next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. Again, a special reminder to also go and follow us on Patreon. We are 2 patrons away from our all familiar one-shot. Just saying. And there's some other things in the works as well. So I'm just saying, you might want to go check out our Patreon as we have some really awesome things happening, including our logo, which several of us got to take a look at yesterday, as we are going through a little bit of a rebrand. It does help support our incredible cast. We have playlists on there as well as Q&As with myself and Duval, Fair, April, and we just recorded Sins, and we have the rest of the cast which will be coming out soon. So please seriously consider supporting us. April, I miss you. So thank you so much. Special thanks to Sphinx, Seven, Mama Strange, Fluffy Snowfall, Chris Gideon, Buzz Lightyear, Lily42, and Goblin Katie for your support. Also, did you see our most recent TikTok? Noob, or Perpetual Noob, has done an absolutely phenomenal job as our new editor with this absolutely hilarious moment. Make sure to follow us on TikTok for more shenanigans. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're working towards a YouTube partner. So that's really it. I promise you. Finally. Anything else, y'all, before we dive into today's episode?
Duval, become our patron, and then I'll forgive you.
I don't believe you.
Wow.
Money talks.
With all the
I'm
love
just
in my
saying,
heart.
Money talks.
I do not believe you.
And without further ado, let us go beyond the veil of Ampistrano. Help? Hello, everyone. We are back. So.
Are we?
Are we? So. When last we left our adventurers, the group had been resting and recuperating in Felk. Tobi spoke with Sparky, Diadora's blink dog, to make sure that they were okay, noting that there was a bit of gold coming off of their coat. They seemed to be more concerned about Diadora and making sure that, well, Tobi was informed that Diadora is very cool. The group each shared their thoughts about loss and pain, as each slowly came to terms with the events of the last couple of days. Blackstone read several letters from Jeremy to Diadora. From these writings, we came to know that Jeremy had been trying to alert Diadora about the strange disappearances and troubles that had been occurring in Vibran, along with the effects that the crystals, flowers, and Oracle had on him. The group then separated, with Tobi running off to the Druid training grounds, Weldor staying at the Hearth to visit those that were injured, and Blackstone and Diadora decided to go on a bit of a shopping adventure. Diadora and Blackstone found themselves at Splinters, the nearby forge where the shop owner, Johanna, put an excited Blackstone to work with mending and fitted Diadora with some new armor. After some discussion about payments and giving Blackstone many things to mend, there was a question about where Blackstone could perhaps get some upgrades, as well as get some things looked into. Johanna brought up, although a bit hesitantly, that the group should perhaps head over to Rory's. And that is where we pick up for today. The two of you find yourselves kind of not necessarily thrust out of the shop, but Johanna and their partner are kind of quickly getting back into it with working on your armor, Diadora. They've given you a time frame of about 3 days to work on your stuff. Payment in terms of the initial fees and stuff haven't been taken, but you've been left to your own devices and are now kind of just taking in everything, the sights and sounds of Felk, as you're kind of standing in this yard, which has benches and such set up for their tinkering, their fixing of armor, swords, sharpening. What do the two of you do?
Well, should we go find this Rory person?
Sounds like the best idea. I don't know if there are a lot of other things to do right now, unless I find that one other person that I saw milling about in town. There's another automaton who was like making announcements for things. It seems that they're in a bit of disrepair. I'm not sure why. But if we find them along the way, perhaps I can help.
Well, maybe they're in disrepair because the person who did that is no longer around.
Maybe. Perhaps. Unfortunate though. Maybe that might be something else to ask Rory about if we run into them.
Yeah.
It's still somewhat strange to me that someone else has that particular name.
Well, your full name isn't Rory. That's just a nickname, right?
That's true. It is a shortening of my first name.
Didn't seem like that was the case with this person, but maybe I'm wrong.
Unlikely.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Only one?
Well, there's one direct way to find out, and that's just to ask.
Asking is good. I think we can do that.
I think probably we should do that instead of, sneaking around, which I'm not good at.
Is that something that you would like to work on?
Being stealthy? It would help for like hunting and stuff.
I think that's something that perhaps we can trade. I think trade is the word. So I can learn to be a good hunter and teach you how to be stealthy.
Okay, that sounds great to me.
I made a connection with something. Aren't most predators very good at being stealthy?
Yes, normally. Or they're faster than their prey, or they just go for, the slowest prey. It kind of just depends. I'm not stealthy because of just my armor. It makes a lot of noise.
Oh, so that means probably now would be the best possible time for you to practice being stealthy because you are not wearing it.
True. And I'm also getting new armor, which will hopefully help, but we'll see. But, I mean, never hurts to practice.
Okay. Well, I have some ideas, but perhaps we can do that after we talk to Rory. Although, I will say the first thing that training isn't quite the word. The way that my sensory input works is I try to place myself in areas that people aren't paying attention, which is fairly often. in my vision, they appear kind of like zones of color, where some of them are shades of red and others of them are shades of green. And the green areas are places where people are not paying attention to things.
What do you find are the most common places like that?
Markets.
That makes sense. There's so many people around that it's hard to notice one person unless they're standing out in some way.
So, markets, taverns, festivals, places where people gather most of the time, because there are some people just believe that other people will watch them, and so they do not themselves pay attention. And that is very useful.
So it's more like hiding in plain sight.
It is. Also, some means of stealth are very specifically probably suited for the talents that you have. Most of the time when you move as if you have places to be, and as if you know exactly where that place is. And in a lot of those cases, people do not ask questions.
I have noticed that people just tend to get out of my way.
And sometimes that that after a manner is also very useful in terms of being stealthy, because, well, who was that? We weren't paying attention. We just moved.
That's a good point.
It's very handy when you're dealing with, well, nobles, aristocracy, or situations in which you have to get access to restricted spaces.
Oh, yeah, they definitely don't pay attention to what's going on around them unless it directly impacts them.
You know, they told me not to steal from those people. They said it wasn't nice.
Who's they?
Hmm?
Who you said they told you not to steal from those people, but who are they?
Professor Point's staff.
Is Professor Point's staff is also a noble?
No, Professor Point's staff is the lead professor at Jorix.
I would say I don't condone stealing, but I will say nobles also tend to abuse and use the people that they see as lesser and wealth hoard. And so I'd say I don't really see it as a problem to steal from them because they have enough. And there are people who don't.
That makes me think of Aaron. That's a story, though, that I'll have to tell you another time, I think.
You're telling me you're dropping a lot of names today. I'm very curious.
Well, I suppose the best way to say it is they would be, I suppose, at this age, a rival of sorts, or they were when I was attending school.
Hmm.
And so, well, every now and then, just to kind of, well, explain that sometimes being noble wasn't necessarily everything. Maybe I did a couple of things that I then got in some trouble for. I don't regret them, though.
Were you?
And besides, I did have to give them back.
Did you do it for petty reasons or for noble reasons?
Yes.
Then I don't think you did anything wrong.
I suppose some of them were petty reasons. Most of them were in defense of my friends. Aaron, before we came to have I suppose, the easiest way to describe it is a cold respect for each other. When we were in school, Aaron had a lot to say negatively about community wizards.
Why?
Well, I suppose that is a good question, as you didn't go to a magic school. So, in some places where people could not afford to go to magical school, they traded magical knowledge for community service. So, they had things that they were tasked to do that went along with the spells that they were learning. Aaron, on the other hand, came from a family who paid for those schools and therefore didn't have to do those things, and saw the people who couldn't afford to go to school in traditional means as somewhat lesser. Seemed to be a thing that a lot of noble people have in common.
And that's why it's okay to steal from them.
I did have to give things back, but watching them panic for moments when wands or ink or scrolls were missing was a lot of fun.
I'll bet. It says a lot about a person that they would judge others for working for what they want to gain instead of just having it handed to them on a silver platter. There's nothing wrong with working towards something. It teaches you life lessons, if nothing else. Having things...
Continue.
I was just going to say that having things handed to you doesn't teach you anything except that you're entitled to have the things that you want.
And sometimes people hand you things that you don't want at all.
Yeah.
The good news is all nobles aren't like that. I did run into some nice ones. But not Aaron. So Aaron got stolen from a lot. I will say, at least during my tenure at the school, Cal didn't run out of ink or quills.
I just see that as doing a public service. You are helping somebody who couldn't afford the ink themselves.
Well, that is what I signed up for.
I do want to say, like, Blackstone and Diadora are like walking and talking walking towards Rory's house, hut, shack,
Shop.
whole stump. I don't remember what it is.
It's a shop. I figured as much. And you kind of see that everyone's been kind of parting around the both of you, giving you curious looks. Felk is not known for getting a lot of new visitors very often, so you are getting some very curious looks as you're both kind of walking by these very busy streets. You can hear the leaves. It's almost like it's fresh leaves have hit the ground, as they're just constantly snapping. Twigs are broken. These are not like clean roads that you've come to know in Illipin or in Jorix and other places. This is deep wilderness, and they're using the vegetation to kind of create that path. But you continue past at this point. You see to your left is that overgrown statue that's covered with vines. Why don't you both roll a perception check for me, please?
Okay.
I'm gonna use Sparky to help.
Sure.
Uh, 16 for Diadora.
16.
13 for Blackstone.
Okay. Blackstone, you're too deep in thought, kind of thinking of Jorix now, and those memories kind of resurfacing of, keeping an eye on Cal. As
I would also say at this moment, This is something that we'll have a talk with Diadora about later, but this whole area is very much red zone central. And so Blackstone is kind of like focused somewhat on the story that they're telling, but also on like the fact that everyone around them and for the last couple of days has been paying them a lot of attention, where they spend a lot of time trying to avoid being seen. And it's a little bit unnerving.
Diadora, you can see kind of sticking out of the ivy and the moss around it, you can see that there's stone, a gray and kind of black textured stone. It's kind of, there's bits that are poking outside of it. It's not like clean cut in a perfect orb. This thing seems to kind of have been splintered partially. You can see at the top there's like this indent, or some of the vines, maybe a bird sat on it at one point or something, that kind of pushed the vines and such down on this massive statue. But every now and then you do see kind of poking out, there are these bits of stone and granite that are kind of just almost just having a little reminder of, hey, there is something underneath here. For whatever reason, and again, it could maybe strike you as odd that, you know, statues usually are used to memorialize or to pay tribute to something. So the fact that this is so overgrown is what catches you off guard slightly. But it's also Felk, and things are a little bit odd here.
Could I, like, maybe clear a little some of the vines away so I can see what's underneath? Or is it, like, super thick and hard to get through?
It's pretty thick, but there are sections with that perception roll that you can see, like, there is a chunk kind of poking out that, like, you could probably, like, push some of the vines back a little bit to see a little bit better. On
Okay,
that, I'll allow
I would
that.
I would like to do that, yeah.
Okay.
Just to see, like, what's being covered.
Sure. So you approach this statue, and it's on kind of this stone, not box, but square. And then the actual statue itself extends upward. And you can see that there's this kind of pointed bit of black and gray granite with like silver, almost glitter kind of over interwoven into it. And you push back the vines that are like almost fighting to stay over on top of it. But you wipe a gloved hand over it, and you can see what appears to be a carving of a hand. Small.
Can I move more of this? Like, I want to see, like, this whole... I want to try to see as much of this as I can.
Sure.
Like,
It gets a little bit harder. Why don't you make a quick just strength check just to see?
Okay.
Do the pieces of the statue that I can see so far, because I imagine that Diadora's clearing this and also looking at it, does any of this look familiar to me?
It's a 23.
23. You are able to get up to about the shoulder of this thing, in terms of like whatever this carving is. There's more of it. There's like another 10 feet of statue and ivy growth over top it. But you can see that this thing is kind of parted on the side, and so this figurine of what appears to be a she looks half organ in appearance, with she's got this kind of headpiece that goes around her head. Parts of her face, the stone has kind of etched away on the sides, but you can still see these small hints of amethyst eyes. It looks like someone crushed up amethyst and like melded it into the granite stonework itself. So it's not like the eyes themselves are jewels, but that's what's creating the iris around it, giving a pretty neutral expression. But at least that's what the purpose of it was. The fact that it's now kind of on its side and its hand is kind of outstretched, reaching forward, almost interwoven with yours as you're kind of pushing everything back. just looks a little bit odd. And your passive perceptions, you are getting a few looks, kind of just wondering what you're kind of doing, but most everyone's going back to what they're doing. But you do see a half organ, seems to be a girl. She looks to be about 9 or 10 in appearance, from what you can tell.
Okay. I'll climb down since I don't think I can move. I have moves as much as I possibly can, but I
Sure.
do want to look like on the plinth. I want to see if there's like a plaque or anything that maybe Blackstone can read.
Sure.
Um,
Sure. You do see it's very much worn away, but there are small divots. Again, I'm going to go with your 16. I'm not going to make you reroll. You can see that there's divots and kind of running your fingers and hands across the placard itself. You can feel there are words written in here, and you can tell it is a language that you do not understand. Actually,
I mean, I wouldn't understand any of them because I can't read.
actually,
Oh.
can you roll an investigation check?
Yeah, I'm gonna have Sparky help because I'm not good at
Hell yeah.
it. That's a 15.
Okay. It's not completely one language. And while, yes, written word is not something that Diadora has a particular fondness for, in terms of this, you do see elements of shift weave is here. And as your kind of fingers brush up against the stone for a moment, you can kind of just see the statue as it was as a whole, where it was upright, and you can see that there at one point was, and again, this is the shift weave, which is floating around you and trying to show you of things that were. You see 3 individuals, kind of hands on their the half orc's shoulders, on the right, and then 2 much larger individuals to the left. Seemingly this looks like it's a family, a statue of a family that's been torn apart. The actual makeup of the family is you have a half-elf, you have what appears to be some kind of celestial, maybe Aasimar in appearance. It's a little bit difficult to tell, because they also have features of Air Genasi within them as well. You see another half-orc male in presentation, looking a little bit older than the 9-year-old, probably about 17, 18. And then 2 other kind of girls. One is slightly older, looking to be 19, 20, and the other looks to be about like 6 or 7-ish, a little bit younger. But it seems to be a family. And as like all of this is starting to connect, it's like the vines kind of interweave themselves over the shift weave, and it slowly transitions back to the way that it is now.
Huh. This was once a larger statue.
Do I see any like bits of stone or rubble around the statue?
You see stones similarly kind of not set out in a specific purpose, but sticking out of the actual ground. But like that stone that you find when you're at the beach or the seashell, it's been there for a while, so a lot of it's kind of overgrown. This area has not been well kept. But you do see some small fragments of granite and silver kind of sticking out every so often.
I wonder what this statue used to be.
It was a family.
How do you know that?
Sometimes it's hard to explain. I just like got a vision, and I saw what the statue used to look like.
Interesting. At some point, if you are so inclined, I would like you to explain that to me a little bit more.
I don't know if I have the vocabulary to explain it.
Well, that's okay. That's something that you can let me see.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. I mean, I could show you right now.
Now is also a good time, I suppose.
Yeah. And I'll I'll let Blackstone connect with me telepathically or whatever, and then I will just show him the vision of this shift weave sort of coming together to form this tapestry of this statue of what it once looked like. And then the vines slowly taking it over over time, and nature sort of running its courses. That's what Diadora's assumption is. It wasn't maintained or kept, so eventually nature does what nature does. It broke it down, and now it's how it is today. It got reclaimed.
I wonder what family that was.
Maybe that's something else we could find out.
How far up is the statue's hand, EM?
It's not far. Now that it's kind of been pushed, you're gonna have to reach a little bit. Just because the actual stonework goes up a good 5 or 6 kind of feet. So you will have to reach to get to the base of the hand. But it's doable.
I'm gonna go grip the hand and see what happens.
Okay. Your hand connects with the stone. Nothing happens. Sorry. It's OBS had a moment.
What an interesting thing. Also, this seems to be somewhat unfortunately common around here.
What do you mean?
There are just a handful of things that for one reason or another don't seem to be kept very well, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah. In this case, it is odd because somebody went through the time and the energy and resources to make this statue. And it seems at one point it's important enough to be kept out where everyone can see it. So why not maintain it so that it continues to symbolize what it was meant to?
I think I had a similar question about our experience back in, well, the lair that we just came from. Very curious things indeed. Well, that and Blackstone's voice lowers a bit, and for some reason, people keep looking at me as if both not expecting me to be here, but also as if there's something familiar about my being here, and I do not know what to make of that yet.
Well, you did mention that there was another automaton here, right? Maybe they're not necessarily surprised by your appearance, but just surprised that there's another one. But it's
suppose-
hard to say.
I suppose we'll have to add this to the list of things to ask Rory about when we run into them. Which way was their shop again?
I point in the direction. Because
You know,
I, as a player, don't think
you've been going. It's a straight path. It's not.
Okay.
Luckily, it's not too confusing. The layout of Falk. Both of you can kind of pick up on this with your passive. It gets more complicated, and kind of the more, I wouldn't say more important, but the more integral kind of buildings, such as like the hearth, which serves as some kind of hospital med bay, to the archives, things like that. It gets more complicated in the back, whereas this has several just main roads up front. So it's like you all could walk in a circle and you would eventually wind up where you're supposed to be. But you do see just probably another 20 yards off to the right, away from the statue and back onto the main road. You do see this building that looks almost like an egg. It's a very oval kind of shaped building that has these kind of metal pieces kind of jutting out of it, kind of acting as the roofing and such to catch water. You can see that there's several windows and a large red door over top of it that does say Rory's in Felk and in Common. It's a rather large building on this block, and it does take up what seems to be about the size of about 2 houses. So in terms of the actual like length versus height. But that's where you find yourselves. And as you step forward, I think we'll pan the camera back over to the hearth to see what it is that Weldor is getting up to. So, Weldor. The group, to take it back a little bit, has just left. You find yourself alone in the kind of apartment accommodations that you're staying in right now. Clean plates as people did eat the breakfast that you did supply. What is it that you do?
If there are any leftovers, he will make a point to make some more to-go-y variations, and begin to like look into rooms and see if you can find some very familiar faces. Most specifically, Eliza, as well as Kimura, and the Carmelli family.
Okay. You do have to head out of your accommodations, and you do find yourself kind of looking down the stairs, and you can see that, again, Opal's kind of manning the front desk, seemingly at this point has just seen the group run out the door after giving them directions on splinters and different things to do. You do see at that moment she actually is like in the process of writing something down, but seems to sense that she's being watched and immediately looks up in your direction and just kind of gives a small wave.
He'll nod.
Are you looking for your friends? And she's shouting this. I'm not going to yell because the microphone's going to hurt everybody.
So, as a matter of fact, I am.
Okay, they're with Geegan right now. They're actually in her glade. She asked if you would come find her with the rest of the group later on today. She says that apparently you were on the right track, but you were missing a step. So, but she does thank you because they probably wouldn't have made it this far if it hadn't been for you and the group.
All a day's work. That has like a bit of a weak smile on his face.
They're not out of danger yet, but they're doing better.
Um, the rest of our folk that are out uh out of the camp, everything good out there as well, as far as you know?
Uh, and she kind of looks around real quick. Hang on. And so she like looks down for a moment, and you see for a moment flames kind of erupting out of her back as these infernal wings pop up. And she does fly over to you to kind of just sit on the kind of banister to have this conversation, just so we're not yelling. This is a place where people are resting.
I could have come over, but that was a mighty fine display.
Thanks. Well, you've been doing a fair bit of traveling yourself. Sorry, can you repeat that for a moment?
The camp out on the outskirts, where some of the my fellow vibrant folk might be hanging out at.
Yeah.
Any idea what the situation is there?
They're being guarded. The latest report says that everyone's fine. We've basically and Geekin can go over this a little bit more. Anyone that was infected or sick has been moved into Felk to kind of be looked at and looked over. Unfortunately, there's nothing out in the camp that would assist.
Makes sense. Just wanted to be sure.
Yeah. So everyone at the camp is healthy, a bit shaken up, but healthy.
Yeah.
We do have guards, and I do believe the last report is there were some guards coming, I guess, from Illipin, so I'm not sure if you or one of your friends asked for some assistance to come their way, but
The backup, yeah.
they've been double timing it. Our scouts have been having some trouble keeping up with them. So there is help that is, I guess, on the way with that. But yeah, the most immediate has been moved here. And then I know Ignacio mentioned that there were 2 that were not able to be moved. So Geekin said she's going to work with you on that, on their treatment, so to speak. But
All right. Sounds good.
she can't leave the village. So
Sounds like I need to make my way over there. But before that, you did get some breakfast, right?
I mean, if you're offering, I could always use second breakfast.
Well, I made plenty.
Perfect.
And because he has like a bunch of them on him, so he'll like leave a bowl
Sure.
out. And all right, don't work too hard.
With your group, it's difficult to say. She says as she's like eating and flying off back to the front counter to do her work. What do you do next?
I head to Giggles.
Okay. You step out of the hearth now, processing some information. What are some thoughts that are going through Weldor's mind?
Conflict. So many things to do. The prioritization was not really on his mind in his previous travels. So this is a new feeling, a new stress. He's just trying to juggle, all while keeping a hold on to a familiar little turtle shape.
All right. And as you step out, we are have a special treat for all of you. As Robo was not able to be here for Duval's final episode, so we are going to go in a pre-record, and then we'll be back. The pre-record, doesn't mention a break. We're not going to take a break. We're going to come right back on into it. But we're going to jump over, and we'll see you all in a little bit. Enjoy. We're going to jump back a little bit. Tobi, since you split from Diadora and Blackstone, things have been a bit of a blur. You're in a new area that really you haven't seen before, minus being within the hearth. Everything is new. There's new sights, new sounds. The leaves underneath your feet are crackling as you're trying to take in everything. The buildings, again, to kind of set the scene are set within the trees, both high, medium, and low to the ground. There are formations of rocks that have been kind of piled together to create small stalls. You can see kind of further down this path that you're kind of staring down at this moment that there's a number of individuals that are moving about, whether that be heading to the markets or socializing. Some are wearing, armor that seems to kind of give the feel and vibe of importance as they're kind of rushing off around this space. During this time, though, Belita is kind of just watching you, taking everything in and kind of doing that dog curiosity of just kind of moving its head back and to the side of just trying to watch to see what exactly you're going to be doing. Weldor, you've noticed in your time as you are finishing up your conversations within the hearth, catching up with the people of Vibrant, and perhaps starting to make your game plan in terms of how you're going to go forward. You see a very confused Tobi kind of doing that circle of trying to find which path, but also trying to keep in mind some kind of landmark. And you see his eyes locking on the hearth before quickly trying to figure out, and he's holding this kind of pamphlet, which you can see from this distance. It does kind of advertise the druid training grounds and such. But that is the scene that I now leave to you.
Look, don't judge me, Bolita. I know Diadora said left. Was it right? No, it was that way, right? Come on, Bolita, help me out here. You remember most stuff. No. Okay, let's just go this way.
Okay, easy to get around, is
Hey.
it?
Oh. Hi, big guy. What's up?
Still pretty early in the day. Getting a few errands done before needing to go shop for dinner. So was coming back by and heard you were perhaps doing a bit of exploring around town. And seems, I suppose fortunate for me, you didn't get too far.
Yeah, I was trying to find the druid grounds, and I got kind of lost. Have you been here before?
Yeah. I'll join you for a little while.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, it's kind of weird because I was feeling all right, and then I kind of got sidetracked. It's like when you forget something that it's in your mind right there, but you can't access that. It's kind of that.
Yeah, I get it. And after all, considering what happened yesterday, maybe give yourself a little bit of grace.
Yeah. I just can't believe that it all happened. Kind of feels like a weird dream. And honestly, I just remember seeing Diadora. And I just remember seeing you. You came back. But Diadora didn't. It was something inside of me just unleashed.
Have you done anything like that before?
No.
So it's your first one.
First one.
Kill?
My first one?
Kill. Your first kill?
I guess technically my second.
Did it feel different this time?
Yeah. Felt like I wanted it to happen.
A few hours removed. Still feel that way?
Yeah. I would do it again just to save my friends.
Ooh.
Does it ever get easy?
He just like looks you dead in the eye. Not in my experience, at least.
Yeah. I thought so too.
You lose count after a while. Some of the names and reasons fade. But at least speaking for myself, not a one do I regret.
It's just I'm not used to that. I guess this has been my first solo adventure. It's just been my first adventure, I guess. I felt really confident getting out of my home. But now I'm not so sure. But what I do know is that I want to protect them. I want to protect you all.
Sometimes that's enough. Problem is as we learned quite recently, there are forces in which would rather us not be able to. And sometimes that lethal force might be the difference.
Yeah.
Even after all this time, I prefer not. But when you're on opposing sides and you tend to know how far the other is willing to go, sometimes there's this weird mutual respect that happens. Which is odd because if it's 1v1 especially, don't really have much time to sit in that respect. But you mentioned protecting everybody. It's odd. Feels like we were just in my kitchen a few minutes ago, and we were discussing even that before, well, everything happened.
It feels like a long time ago. How are you,
Maybe
by
that's.
the way?
Appreciate you asking. It's kind of what I mean. To me, it doesn't feel like that long ago. Maybe it's because we're coming back around and talking about the same thing. Do you remember when I mentioned about losing people.
Yeah.
Well, to answer your question, I'm a bit conflicted right now.
Oh.
Because there's a couple places that once we've rested and taken care of ourselves that we should probably look into.
Mm-hmm.
These plants and shipments and things. And before, when I was on the road, it was always about us, our family. But I've been off the road a long time. I met another one. And that other one is taking some hits. I'm starting to think I feel a little bit uncomfortable leaving them behind when I haven't secured what I have already.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I understand that. But could you just give me 1 hour and I'll go to the druids and come back with you?
What do you mean?
Well, so we can go to Vibrant, I'm guessing.
I don't think everyone's gonna come back to Vibrant, though. I suspect folks will want to move to Jorix or Religress, perhaps.
Uh-huh. Oh. I'm kind of lost. Are you leaving this?
He kind of smiles. I don't think that's possible. Because leaving involves an exit. And fortunately, or unfortunately, we're going to be in each other's lives for a while. It's just perhaps the paths won't cross the same for a while. Be a bit more parallel, at least for a bit. Those people I was looking for when y'all found me, unfortunately, we have kind of an idea of what happened. And even though we couldn't save them, there's still some that we were able to, thanks to everyone's efforts. Don't get me wrong, you and everybody else is more than welcome to come back to Vibrant if you want to, but I think that's a place I have to stay for a little while, longer than perhaps y'all intend to.
Oh. I just thought that we were going to have more time together. And I guess I just went with the idea that wherever you go, we'll go. But speaking this and being kind of selfish, I don't want you to go. But I respect your... I know you have a destiny elsewhere. I'm gonna miss you, though.
Can I be vulnerable with you this time?
Appreciate it.
Selfishly. Kind of miss being on the road. And the kind of do want to go wherever y'all go. But I don't know if y'all ever got around to creating a party name or anything. But
Nope.
do you know Celestial by chance?
I don't think so. No. No, I do not.
We did have a name though. Etaha Sevele, which in Celestial means found family. And though that party disbanded quite a while ago. Somewhere it feels still like it's around. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't know if that's a name that fits now for all of us. Because Tobi, you don't get to miss me. Because I'm still going to be here. You not physically see each other for a little while. Just a message we're sending away, though.
I don't have that spell yet, but once I do, better hope I send it to you.
He reaches into a small satchel, opens up an empty piece of parchment, takes out a quill, and begins to like quickly scribble something. And you see it begin to like glow with this green energy, familiar to you. And he rolls it up. That'll be your first one. You can give it a whirl. May work, may not, but you can try.
What is it?
Scroll Ascendant.
Oh. How would I use this?
It's a spell. You can try and cast it. Don't try it now. I'm right here.
He was about to cast something. And like, oh.
You saw it on your face and just like, wait, not right now.
Okay. I know our time was short, but
He grabs
Meaning
your
to me.
shoulder. What you're talking about was
well, I just wanted to say that I know that we didn't spend a lot of time, but I enjoy every single minute. And I'm glad that you're in my life. And he hugs you. And he just starts crying.
he brings you in as well. You know what's amazing?
What?
I thought the story of my life was pretty much written. And I thought this was just the extras as I close the final chapters of my life. Then I found out that I didn't even know the first 2 chapters even existed. And then with the help of you all, there's still some more writing to do.
I can't wait to hear your story, Weldor.
Gotta do me one favor, though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to meet your mom in that pie. It was a cheesecake. Can't really remember.
It was cheesecake.
She made pie too?
She does. And it's really good. I think she would really much appreciate meeting you.
I think I'd appreciate meeting her as well. After all, a guy like you, she's gotta be pretty damn perfect then.
Why?
Because that was a backseated compliment. Because you're outstanding. You got a big heart.
Oh, okay. See, I'm not good with compliments. Especially nice ones. Because I don't know when it's a compliment. But since you actually said that it's a compliment, I understand now. And thank you, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, of course. Also, I want you to hold on to something for me.
Okay.
He reaches into underneath his armor, takes out a familiar long silver chain that is around his neck, and you see a familiar amulet that's glowing a kind of a greenish blue, sort of in the middle. And he spins it around. It's an amulet of the Devout +2.
Oh, shit.
And he puts it on you.
It's really beautiful. Wait. And I just stretch my body a little bit, and I transform into an owlbear. And with my beak, I take one of my feathers out, and I put it in the ground, and I transform back into Tobi. There's a tale about travelers, heroes who save planes, and it is said that when you give someone a gift and that means a lot to you, and that you just take something from a place that it means a lot to you, and you call it a home. So I'm giving you this, and it's a feather. It's not magical or anything, but that way you can have us with you all the time.
What color is the feather?
Brown.
Brown.
Owlbears do have feathers, though? They do, right? They do. Okay.
You say it's not magical, but you are. And so thus it is. And he sort of like tucks it like right like where his like plate armor like meets his chest, like right over his heart. And you can kind of see like there's like a long like slashing scar there from whoever or however long ago it was. So let's
It is-
it's funny. We're doing all this hemming and hawing, and we still got to go to this druid thing.
Yeah. But in case I don't get the chance to say it, that way, that feather is your homestone. I'm gonna miss you a lot. And I really, really hope that you find what you're looking for. And we see you again.
That's the thing, Tobi. I have found what I was looking for, and I didn't even know I was looking for it. I just have the fortunate nature of finding more of it.
He just hugs you again.
Yeah.
And he lets go and just says, are you gonna accompany me? Because I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah. You know what will make this, because he's been choking back tears the whole time, and finally, like, after that second one, like, they fall after all this crying. Seems really very strange to do a bit of training, but it sounds right about like the right decision to make. Come on, let's go find us some druids to fight or something. I actually don't know. I've been outside of it a few times, but I've never actually been inside. So it's about to be as big of a surprise as to you as it is to me.
Tell me about it. I don't know much about druids except that my dad is a druid, and this is the first druid, so I got super excited when Diadora said druids, and I just wanted to meet the druids.
You are
kind of
aware
nervous.
that you're a druid, right?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you had all the facts.
Yeah, I just don't know how to be a druid, except how my dad raised me as a druid, and I think that's a good. Can we just go?
Well, I think they're about to be mighty impressed. And he just kind of like grabs your shoulder and leads you on.
And the two of you head down the leafy green path. The sun kind of, at this point, still relatively early in the day, although you all kind of slept in a little bit from exhaustion. This farewell, but a reminder that there's still so much more life to live when it comes to the past that you are weaving, and that this goodbye is not for forever. To see you later. As the
Alligator.
I hate you.
It's double funny because there's alligators in Vibrant. All right.
It's true. As the three of you with Valita at your side head through the throng of people further into the depths of Felk. In the distance, both of you can see that the road parts ways, and the tree and vegetation lessens slightly, and you see a massive, grander than any of the trees that you've seen in this space so far, massive trunk that has had the top half of it cut off. And there's an archway where you see 3 humanoids standing, waiting at the ready. And that, I think, is an excellent time for us to take our break. And as we say goodbye to Robo for now, because this is a pre-record, but don't worry, Robo will be back.
Spoilers!
Don't
I
ruin
won't
it.
be
It's a
wearing this
surprise.
shirt.
Maybe I'm already here.
Maybe you're here. Who knows?
Maybe we'll come
Whatever.
back
I
and
don't
there's Robo. I don't know.
It could
I
be.
don't know, whatever.
Who knows?
Man, that'd be so awkward.
It'd be funny as hell, actually.
It would be really funny.
I would be here for it. But we're gonna take about,
Same. I am here.
We're gonna take about 10 minutes, y'all.
So ridiculous.
Get up, stretch, get some water, get some tissues because I cried. And we'll be back in a little
We
bit.
knew we were all gonna cry.
Oh yeah, I knew we were. But see you all later. Bye, everybody.
Butts,
Bye,
everybody.
future me. Butts.
And welcome back, everybody. So, Weldor, you've brought Tobi to the Druid training grounds, an area you know. While you haven't yourself gone beyond those arches to explore what it is that the Druids may have, you do know that this is a place where not only Druids come here to train, this is a place that everyone can. It's just kept kind of under management of the Druids to make sure that things don't get too weird, so to speak. As you linger watching Tobi walk through those arches, what are some thoughts that are entering your head as things are now laid out before you?
A lot of pride. Not just in Tobi, but in all of these new confidants that he's made over the last couple of days. Still mind-blowing how much a lot of them remind him of his previous crew, and how unexpectedly protective of them he has become, which is what makes what he needs to talk to them about that much more difficult. And so there's that like pain that like sort of like sits on his heart of indecision and conflict, but still resolve. And then he realizes, oh shit, I need to go buy that beef stew stuff.
That's right. You promised Diadora a meal. And a meal she shall get.
Yeah.
As what are you doing next?
Picking into a market fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of quickly, hey, how are you? I don't know why suddenly I went into a different accent there.
It's okay.
That was
You
weird.
seem to be struggling a bit today, Weldor, as you see you made it to Gretchen's Greenery,
Yeah.
which is one of the local markets. They're kind of set up all over Felk because it's just so massive. This is basically the equivalent of a farmer's market. There's produce, there are meats, there are tons of stuff here, spices, everything that you could possibly want. You do have a tab open with them because of course you do. But yeah, Gretchen, who you see, has this short kind of bob of blonde hair, kind of with swats of silver and white. She is, honestly, until you met Aurea, you could kind of get the idea that maybe she was very fae or fairy-like. There's something otherworldly about her. As she kind of stands behind this produce. She's wearing like this little straw hat. She's got like these overalls over like a white button-down shirt. She's got dirt smudges on her face as she has just been picking a lot of this produce, which is fresh every single day.
It's early afternoon, right?
About this point, yeah, it's early afternoon.
Yeah.
You all were sleeping for a while.
Perfect. Afternoon, Gretchen. It's been a while.
It's
Great to see you.
good to see you too. You're looking a little bit better than yesterday.
Yeah, that would be a mighty understatement on your part.
The usual, or are you going a little different this time around?
Is always a wonderful question. Doing things a little bit different this time.
All right.
I need, if you don't mind, your finest cubed if possible. Otherwise, I can butcher it myself if I need to. Chuck, it's time for some beef stew today.
Oh, beef stew. Interesting.
Yeah, your finest marbled if you have it.
Let me take a look. And you kind of see she pops down. She towers over you, but she does pop down beneath like this little wooden kind of stall or bench rather that does have like a simple plain cloth which is just dotted with dirt. You can see there are some like dirt like handprints of some children that were kind of ogling the food, perhaps taking a look at it. And you do see after a couple moments she does pop up with exactly you were asking for, and you can see the marbling is gorgeous on it.
Wonderful. And he'll kind of look around at the farmer's market and sort of pick out some carrots, onions, some. He's got pretty much all the spices and flour he needs. Odd question considering it's farmer's market. You wouldn't happen to have any red wine, would you?
No, but you could probably procure one from Alicent's Liqueurs on the way back, if you're heading back towards the main frame of town. And she kind of eyes your, at this point, you've been grabbing ingredients, and she snapped her fingers, and you could hear, you've seen this before, but you hear the bits of like branches and wood in the area mending themselves together to create what appears to be a small kind of cart that's been just following you, like not making any noise. Yeah, you just kind of grabbing and putting in the cart, and it's got these little instead of the handles, since you're not using it, will come and reach out to grab whatever the food is and put it in in itself, as it's like this wicker basket is now holding all of your different food. You see that there is a little bit of almost like fog coming off. And the next time you kind of dip your clawed hand into it, it is cold. It seems like there is a little bit of cold mist to make sure that the meat doesn't spoil, things like that, to kind of help you out with getting your preparations in order. But she does gesture back towards past the hearth. You know where this place has been. You've been there before to get various liquors and such, that you can pick it up, no problem.
And he'll make sure to grab some bay leaves as well.
Yep.
Yeah, he'll
The only brand name liquor. Ampistrano.
no, bay leaves.
Bay leaves.
Oh, I heard Bailey's and I was like,
Yeah, I did too for a moment. Not gonna lie. I was like,
No.
all right, listen.
Before he's
Okay,
at Gretchen's, he's still
that's
getting some. Yeah,
gonna be
that's
weird.
weird. That's weird. Sponsorship? No. But yeah, contact us. And then he'll bid Gretchen adieu. Always a pleasure. Glad things are looking great.
For sure. It's been busy for sure. But good luck with your beef stew.
Let you know how it turns out.
You better bring me some, actually. That's
Of
right.
course. It's better than telling.
Yeah.
Experiencing.
Well, this little guy will follow you, and then when you're done with him, he'll bring whatever payment. You see her like fake coughing for a moment. Soup. To me. So
I could probably help with that.
I'm sorry.
Nothing.
Just let's put off for a moment. But you were allowed to go on your merry way.
Okay.
With that, and you do hear it's the wheels are made of wood, but not like a smooth wood. So every so often you hear the cart kind of struggling because it almost has like square wheels because it just doesn't have enough wood to make it perfectly smooth as you head, I'm assuming, back towards the main area of Felk,
Yep.
back towards the entrance. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and he'll pick up a couple bottles of red wine at Allison's. And as he's heading out, he's like kind of in the middle of the street, and sort of reaches into a small pocket, and like in the cart, like in like what would be the same consistency of the basket, puts 2 platinum down.
Okay. Cool.
And keeps going.
Cart keeps following you with all your little ingredients.
He just goes, "Our little secret, buddy."
And you just see, like, if this thing had eyes, you just see it, like, blinking once and then just kind of following you down the thoroughfare, as we pan back to Diadora and Blackstone. So, you both find yourselves outside of that oval building, which does read Rory's at the top. What do you do?
Does it look or seem like anybody's inside? Like, do we hear anything?
I'm not going to make you roll. You can tell that the windows, one of them is broken. It looks dark on the inside. This building, in comparison to the others, also doesn't seem to have been the most well kept. There are, you can see from the kind of broken window along one of the sides, like there's a fresh layer of dust on the store. It's dark on the inside. You do hear movement every so often, but it doesn't seem as necessarily inviting as some of the other spots have been.
I think Diadora will just go and knock on the door.
All right. You knock on the door, and after a few moments, you start to hear the sound of like a creaking noise, somewhat high pitched. It seems like it's moving around in terms of the octaves. And after a moment, the door does open, and you see kind of standing there on a kind of rickety wheel, an automaton. Miniature in size, not as big as Blackstone is. This one is about 2 feet tall, very skinny kind of body made of, it looks like warped kind of metal around like the waist and midsection, kind of holding what looks to be 2 pieces of where's this wow, words just like completely disappeared. Apologies. 2 pieces of jade together. They have jade kind of formations of not breastplate, but whatever kind of equivalent of clothing, but in this formation of this bright kind of green stone. It's a combination of metal, stone, and wood that have been forged together, and at the top of it you can see the actual face of this jade automaton has hair that is kind of texturized, so it's almost in a pixie cut. Looks like whoever it was trying to carve this into almost a human face. Not the greatest, but it does look recognizable at least. And you do see that this automaton does blink, and you see these pools of purple energy from their eyes do blink in recognition as the both of you arrive at the door. Hello, may I help you?
Are you the owner of this place?
I am not the owner. I am their assistant. Is there something that you wish to see?
I would like to, I believe this is Rory's shop. I would like to speak with them if that is possible.
And you see at that moment they kind of lean forward and do this movement where they're rocking back and forward for a moment as they're trying to speak, giving a slight stutter as they're speaking as well. I'm afraid that they are not back yet. I cannot say when they will be back yet. I have been trying to keep the shop safe. Would you come in? I might be able to assist you.
I look at Diadora and then head inside.
I follow.
Okay. You all find yourselves in a medium-sized store with light yellow walls that have what appears to be smoky gray stains on the sides. The room is blanketed with a small layer of dust. Wood and metal combine to form shelves with several blades and small and medium stones set up around the shop. You can see that these high ceilings, which go up about 20 feet, there are cobwebs that decorate the several wooden beams that are kind of helping to support the structure as they're crisscrossing. It's a pretty big shop with lots of different stones, large pieces of, you can see granite, you can see lapis, you can see fluorite, all around this shop. There is a door also about halfway down, on the left, probably about 10 feet or so, that seems partially ajar. And then there's a door in the back, at the back end of the shop, where you do see what appears to be a small register made out of diamond, where that's seemingly where a lot of the purchases have been. But there's several blades. You also see what appears to be some either accessories or attachments of partially put together arms, legs, some that have wheels that are kind of set up. You do see several automatons, some that are fully made of metal that are kind of just not necessarily thrown against the wall, but kind of against the corners and kind of lurched forward, not seemingly online. But that smell of like when you've gone into a place and it's very musty, and just, not necessarily dealing with mold, but just hasn't had a lot of aeration in this room. That's what you're essentially walking into. As the automaton before you see again is kind of wobbling slightly, and you do see that their wheel is what has been making that rickety noise.
What is your designation?
My designation is to assist my creator.
Right. Do you have a name?
You can call me Ada.
Nice to meet you, Ada.
It is good to meet you too.
Well, we had hoped to meet Rory while we were here, but it seems that maybe, and I'm just like looking around while I'm talking, maybe some assistance might be useful to you?
I could definitely use some assistance with this shop. My functioning is to just assist my creator, but also any automatons that need repairs. Do you need repairs?
I am considering some upgrades. Do you need repairs?
I could use some repairs.
How big is Ada?
Not tall. You're looking down at her. She's about 2 feet. She's she's kind of
I'm
zooming around the shop.
Well, I'm asking because of the like area that mending like takes up. So, well, if you don't mind, I would like to start with the wheel that you have, if that is okay.
That would be wonderful.
Okay, I'm gonna use mending on Ada. Hold on for a moment though while I look this up before I do that.
Ada goes to pieces. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, so I can use like basically it fixes anything that isn't, as long as it's not broken in something that's a foot or larger of a break. So I'm gonna fix the wheel.
All right. What does it look like as you were casting?
Well, like I don't think it's a thing that anybody else really sees.
Okay.
But for Blackstone, it looks like there's a like laser layout of the structure that something should have, and then magic that courses along those like outlines to reshape an object.
Okay. You see for a moment, like, she kind of shivers as the mending starts to take place, and you do see they do start to kind of stand up a little bit firmer, and you see for a moment she like puts her hands out and just starts kind of rocketing side to side just to see the buoyancy of the wheel.
I want to say, if we can with the mending, I also want to see if she has like an internal system for balancing that, like the mending would also fix so that she could stay upright when we fix the wheel.
Yeah, you can see that it is working. She's more just testing out the wheel because she doesn't have legs to kind of test if one is working versus the other. So she's just testing side to side. You kind of giving a little hop as she's trying to test the durability, and then kind of looks down and then looks up at you. Thank you. I feel that is sufficient for any payment for upgrades that you were talking about. Come with me and I can help you out. Are you looking for anything? And you see looking up at Diadora as this is happening.
Oh, no, I'm just here to support my friend.
Friend. Interesting. And you kind of see for a moment, turns around to start kind of rolling away. And you hear for a moment, daily log 3,267. Have learned the new word, friend. This
Oh
will
my
take
God,
more
are you
observation.
fucking kidding me? This is so sad. Oh my
What
God.
is, wait, what number is that?
3,600, and I think I said 27.
I is the window, can we see like the broken part of the window from where we are?
Yeah, it's the main. So, like, the door was right next to the broken window. Easily.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the window.
Okay. She has no idea. She's kind of just rolling away, but you can kind of see her little head poking around the different aisles as she's slowly kind of moving.
I don't doubt she's capable of the things that she's described, but I'm very concerned about leaving her here like this. Who just breaks a random shop window?
Misfits? Or, maybe, we don't really know what the weather's like right here. Maybe it could just be a product of that.
Maybe. It seems that she's been here for quite some time.
It does.
Perhaps the thing that you said earlier was more accurate than either of us realized.
Which part?
Remember earlier when you said that the reason that some of the automatons in town might be in disrepair because the person who services them isn't around?
Yes. I think at that I want to turn to Ada and just say, have you been here alone that whole time?
There have been visitors every so often, but as well as some not invited visitors. But as far as I know, yes?
How long has it been that long since you've seen Rory?
What day is it?
Insert date here.
Yeah. That's fine.
It's wait, like I think that was, oh wait, that was the year, not the day, because I was about to say that.
The year will suffice.
Okay. It is currently 619 AR.
AR. That does not compute. And she just kind of turns around and starts kind of rolling forward.
After rupture?
What rupture?
Ada, what is your first recorded date of operation?
And you see, like, the wheel stops, and she comes to a complete frozen standstill.
This might take a moment to process.
Downloading information. Access denied. I'm sorry, that question does not work. At this point, I'll say this as this conversation's happening. She's been leading you down the left side. And you both at this point are right by the door that's partially ajar. You can see into it a little bit. It seems to be some kind of workshop. You can see that from at least that angle, the room kind of dips back a little bit and then pushes forward to the side, kind of lining along the opposite side of the shop. You see that there seems to be some kind of cot that's been set up in the corner, as well as there seems to be almost like a hardware table, like think of what you would normally find like a tool shed with like just having all of your equipment on there. There's some hammers, there's a chisel. You can see that on the actual table itself there's a or not fresh, but there is a small piece of aconite on there, and it seems like it's been partially carved with a human's face on it as well. As you see that the automaton in front of you is struggling a little bit. Yes, fair.
This is more a question for me as a player than Diadora.
Yes.
Because I realized as soon as it came, I was like, she can't fucking read. But I was just wondering, because there's a sign on the outside that says Rory's, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is it spelled?
Rorys.
Okay.
Yep. Nope, that's a very good question.
I am concerned, Diadora.
Of leaving them alone?
Well, maybe more than that. I do remember what it was like before I had the access to the memories that I have now. I still have yet to catalog them all. I am concerned for them. I would like to help them if I can.
Okay. I don't know how much help I'll be, but I support you.
You know, I do wonder if this is a thing that Weldor has felt before.
Which part?
Well, what if being helpful means staying here longer than I intended to?
I can't answer that question for you. Only you can answer that question for you.
I suppose it will have to be one of the many that I will have to ask Carmen someday.
I mean, you could ask them, yes, but I think ultimately it's a decision that you have to make for yourself.
Oh, well, certainly. I don't think Carmen will necessarily help with, will make decisions. But Carmen, or at least this person, and I use like silent image to project an image of what Carmen looks like. This person has guarded access to my memories for some time. So I think she might be a source of great information that I can use to make better decisions.
Is the information she's kept from you actual, like, are they actual facts or are they just memories that you have?
It seems that they are both of those things. It gave me access to the language of the people who live here.
I wonder if maybe Ada has their own Carmen.
I think so. And if so, at the very least, it's access that if she wants them, she should not be kept from.
I agree. Because how is she supposed to make informed decisions about herself if she doesn't have all the facts?
Making decisions about ourselves. You don't get to do that often.
Is it because somebody told you that you couldn't?
Well, summarily speaking, it is because we are built that way, and some of our components allow us to turn things on or off, or it allows our makers to do so.
I can't say that I know what that's like, but it doesn't seem fair to you.
Fairness in this moment. Interesting. This sounds like something that Tobi and I talked about before.
Oh?
He was concerned about being helpful or being useful. And I reminded him then that the ability to choose the ways in which you would like to live without having to think about whether or not it's helpful or useful is a wonderful thing that I have to experience vicariously.
Maybe, if you want to, we can find somebody who can change that for you.
Some of them I am already picking up on. For example, I would like to learn how to cook and make cheesecake, but cooking and cheesecake have nothing to do with my primary functions. That might be one of the first choices that I've ever made that wasn't directly related to my main functions. It's pleasant.
I think if your main function is to help people, then making a meal that nourishes them and that they can enjoy does serve your main function.
A better way to say it might be, my functions are for utility and stealth. There are automatons that have been made specifically for cooking. They're excellent at those tasks.
I think Diadora takes a moment to think of this and just think of all the instances where Blackstone more or less went against their programming to do these functions that they're not programmed to do, and she'll say, then I think you're already on the road to becoming someone who doesn't need to wait to be told what to do. Because if cooking goes against your programming, then you're already doing something that's outside the norm for what you were made for.
Am I a rebel?
I think so. Or
I think that's the word that you have for that.
yeah, it can be. I think also just you are someone who is coming into their own and realizing that maybe the needs of your maker aren't the needs that suit you at the end of the day, because I mean they're not around and you still have to live in this world.
I suppose that is true.
At this time, you can see the conversation's been happening as Ada has been kind of slowly reprogramming. You can kind of see it shut down for a moment, and you can see sparks are kind of coming off from where the metal meets stone as they're coming back online, seemingly rebooting themselves after that inquiry. Apologies for the delay. You mentioned upgrades. Is there something specific you are looking for?
I believe what I'm looking for are enhancements to both my armor and offensive capabilities.
Understood. And you are one of Rory's.
I suppose I am, although, unfortunately for both of us, he's not here to answer that question. My designation is Rory Tave Blackstone.
Access granted. And you hear the door at the very back click. Well, I would say that is proof that you are Rory's.
What is in the room back there?
That would be another section of Rory's workshop, which you have access to. I do not have clearance to go back there.
I look at Diadora. There is clear confusion on, well, as clear as could be while wearing a mask over
Sure.
here.
Yeah.
There's like clear confusion on my face.
You feel at that moment Corbin has the small fan just at the side of your face, kind of has been picking up that you're experiencing a lot of things, so has a little fan going at the side.
I think even though Blackstone's wearing this mask, like, we've been traveling together long enough for me to like know like the shifts of color like in their eyes is an indicator of like what they may be feeling. And so maybe it's like that bright the brightness of it is dimmed slightly when there's confusion. I think Theodora's also a little confused, but she'll say, well, if Blackstone here has access, can they not give you access, Ada?
Checking. Administrative functions. Blackstone has admin clearance.
I see. In that case, Ada, would you be willing to assist me?
It would be my... I believe honor is the correct word for this statement. And she starts rolling forward.
Well, I suppose. Let's see what is in that room. I am very curious about it.
I think before Diadora follows them into the back room, she wants to, since like the front's not going to be manned, wants to maybe lock the front door so people can't just break in. And if they like want to use the window, then obviously we'll hear them. But like she doesn't want people strolling in to like steal or like, you know, from this place, because it seems like maybe they've already had some trouble before. And so, yeah, she just wants
As
to
you get to
protect
the
it.
door, with the window being right there as well, you do see what appears to be Weldor accompanied with a wooden shopping cart slowly rolling rolling past the front of the building at this point.
Uh,
For what
I
it's
think
worth.
I'll open. Yeah, she'll open the door and call out to them in case he wants to join. But hey, Weldor, over here.
Um, that's a fascinating place to find you.
Well, we were told that Blackstone might be able to find some answers here.
Well, I've got a little bit of prep to do, but I'm curious, I suppose. You wouldn't mind, little guy, would you? Bit of a pit stop.
Oh my god. He's like, I'll do it. You gave me 2 platinum, I'll do anything.
All right.
You got me for the week, bro.
Car rental service.
It seems as though the owner hasn't been here for a while, but Blackstone has access to areas of the shop that nobody has had in that time.
Almost as if been here before.
I think so, and I've thought that for a bit.
Yeah, Hindle walking cart to the side, probably. Is it dusty in here? Yeah, so probably a little like sliding.
What happens
Thanks
is
to the
basically,
dust.
because there is like a small set of stairs leading up to the door. It's like, I didn't really mention it before because like it's not that big of a deal compared to some of the flights that you've had. It's one of those like 2 steps to a house kind of thing. But you see the cart kind of like straightens up next to you, kind of elongating itself, and the wheel splinters as you see almost like this little stick figure kind of inching itself up the steps, still holding all of your stuff, and you see that mist of cooling keeping all of your the meat and the different things that you got at the market nice and cold as well. But as soon as it's at like the dusty area, you see it kind of look down, and the what would be normally the handles kind of expands, and you see kind of creating this almost wicker basket topping, so that way the dust doesn't get on the food,
That's awesome.
to kind of keep it safe as you kind of move through. And it does have like this little sweeping, almost like a little broom to kind of clear a small little path.
You are mighty convenient. Well done. I appreciate your hard work.
So just, you see this thing, Diadora, is just wooden. It almost looks like a wooden tricycle, like in terms of the actual like display of it. Seems to be holding some food though. You do get a scent of that very, very quickly.
Oh, the beef is the beef,
Yeah.
the vegetables, yeah.
I zoom directly to the basket, but don't say anything.
Yeah. He just nods. He doesn't like blow your spot up, but he nods. He gets it.
Weldor, can you please roll a history check for me, please?
Oh yeah. Oh shit. That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good. That's 21.
21. So this is not a place that you have ever come into. It's not that it's like forbidden. It just wasn't really ever on your like places to go. Yeah. It was always something that you saw on your way over to Geegan's, since Geegan's Glade is over in this area as well. Literally just on the opposite side of the block. So it's strange because after all these years now you're seeing the inside of this place, which again you're seeing the smoky kind of gray stains on these yellow walls, and a mixture of stone and metal and wood all over the place. And you do see kind of, they're not hobbling as much, but you do see what appears to be an automaton on a wheel that's made of jade and metal and wood, that is currently giving a very neutral face, but their purple kind of eyes are kind of looking in between currently Blackstone and now Diadora and you, as you're kind of moving back into this thing. And if you could see an automaton looking a little bit disapproving upon seeing your cart, you do see the eyes narrowing slightly, and then just kind of goes back to what they're doing.
She a hater.
He doesn't pay it anymore.
Nope.
He doesn't.
She looks back up at Blackstone. You do have admin access. You muted them.
Muted.
I don't believe your soundbox
So what's it-
is working.
So what's in the room?
Would you like to go see
No, I
it?
don't. Oh, I don't ask that question. I'm asking you, the DM, that
Oh, okay.
question.
So you're going back
I'm going.
there.
I'm going back there.
Okay. So you push back this door. This door has weight to it. It's wooden in appearance, and a dark blue, almost royal, but it's got aspects of what you can see, like the paint has kind of been chipped away in sections. And you actually, instead of pushing it forward, you're sliding it to the right as you're coming through. You see that this is compared to the little image that you saw of a small work space, perhaps a room, this is what appears to be Rory's actual kind of workshop. You see, strikingly, that image from so many weeks ago. You see to the corner there is a small archway where in your vision you did see your maker disappearing through a portal to head elsewhere. You see that there are shelves lined with what appears to be broken automatons in various shades and spots of disrepair, some partial things being made. There's a table with parchment spread all over it, as well as a large stack of papers. You can see as well there seems to be several other accessories and things on the desk. This is Rory's study. This is Rory's temple. This is Rory's library. This is where they came to create. As to what and why, that purpose is still unbeknownst. But you find yourself within this space. You also notice, kind of on the opposite side of the door, kind of it rustles in the wind as you're kind of pushing the door back. An unfurled, partially burnt scroll that you can see is written in Felkian as well as in Common.
What does the not burn part say?
I am sending it to you now.
Okay.
Secrets. The rest of you just see Blackstone kind of pausing, seemingly reading something on the side, just on the opposite side, unable to see exactly what it is. But the rest of you can see the inside of this workspace, which kind of pays homage to the things of the past as well as hopes and dreams of the future, as you see very like various drawings and sketches kind of pinned around the actual workshop itself. Some are hanging on like clotheslines pinned together, like ideas that have been quickly scrawled, and not wanting to lose it, and in terms of organization just popped it up as there's no wall space. You see the walls are lined with parchment and ink. Dust is obviously covering a large portion of this, but a lot of the space is actually a little bit cleaner than the actual shop itself. But Blackstone, what do you do with that information?
So I just read this.
Mm-hmm.
I try to use mending on the paper. I'm going to assume that mending probably doesn't work here.
Mending does work, but you do see that unfortunately what is missing in terms of the words doesn't come back, but the full parchment piece does, as you can see from the dust kind of floating up. Dust and probably ash. The letter forms fully.
Okay.
But it doesn't
So-
seem like the rest of the letter was written in terms of the ending.
Okay. So, looking at this piece of paper and reading this out, like reading this, not necessarily out loud, but reading it quietly, the next question I'm going to ask is there any lingering, like, either magical energy or spiritual residue for from the person who wrote this note?
No, you do not pick up any energy. Whatever energy may have been in this thing is tapped out at this point.
Okay. Just standing still. Again, there would be like a state of mild shock here if like that were a readable expression that he has. But what you do get is this like this slowly intensifying sense of questioning while he's looking at the paper. And then he just slowly looks around the room, starts picking up parchment, seeing if any of like the other pieces of parchment in the room have any descriptions of either who he is or what he might be like, or who was here before. Most of this is just like without words. It's just like you
Yeah.
see this, you feel that questioning, and then he's just on a tear looking through things.
You both just see Blackstone moving around the room quickly. You see what appears to be the thought process and ideas of about 20 different projects coming together. You see there is a sketch of what appears to be a very loose leaf kind of version of Ada. You see what appears to be a stone design of what appears to be some kind of lockbox. A stone design of what appears to be almost like a sewing needle and thread. And machine with having like a little stopper to kind of move it through the wheel to weave things. To weave what exactly? You see it's written in 5 different languages. Rory seemingly unable to just contain themselves and limit themselves to just one language, bouncing between these different thought processes. You see that there are paint swatches from colors. There are various stones. There's weighted. There's notes about, with an automaton using fluorite or lapis, that it was more agreeable. Things like that. You see someone figuring out with glee what they're supposed to be doing. You see that there are orders on there of like needing 3 automatons for Gala, needing 5 automatons for the hearth to assist with healing, needing 7 automatons to assist with helping with ranger and recovery. You see that there's all of this information around you. The most pertinent seemingly seems to be coming mainly from where the desk is, which you can see has folders upon folders. And when I say folders, it is pieces of leaves and wood that have been pulled together to create these small little binders of information. Seemingly this person ran out of parchment and had to make do with what they had. You see in there is what appears to be a sealed envelope at the very back of one of the binders. Yes.
So,
As Blackstone's sort of going through like this workshop, Diadora does want to step in and maybe help by like looking for any sort of maps or something like any sort of imagery that would maybe suggest where this person went.
Okay.
If there's like a map with markings on it or something.
Sure. Can you make an investigation check for me, please?
Sure. Sparky, help me.
Yep, I figured as much.
well, I mean, Weldor can help. Weldor's also here.
Water's about to do
Weldor.
something a little different. So,
You said investigation?
Yes.
That's 16.
16. You are moving through, and you do see that there are some like drawers and stuff that are unlocked that you're able to open pretty quickly. Immediately, and I'll send you this weekend, you do find a map of what appears to be the Unitel, which you had just been in not even a day prior, of the layout of what it once was. What the different rooms were, that the fact that it had more levels. It's an outdated map as you read it, but it does give you the layout and information. And from it, you can see that this was a place that was sacred. It had knowledge in there. It was a base if something were to happen to Felk, for them to go and retreat to. If something were to happen to the barriers around. And you do see in Shift Weaven as well as Felkian, this is what is written around it, is talking about the barriers that are in place around Felk to ensure that only those that are trusted and follow the honor code, so to speak, which the meaning of that word ringing true from something Weldor said days ago in regards to it. You find all of this information there, as well as information about, at the time at least, the locations of other civilizations, sites that are all over. And one that you can tell is just off the coast of Jorix.
This is like an out of character
Sure.
question because something comes to mind when you say that. Blackstone had a vision at one point of being on like cliffs overlooking a sea. Is that correct? Okay. I don't know if Blackstone told us that. I'm just recalling it from memory. But yeah, I think Diadora is going to take this map and like wants to keep these maps and these notes. Because if we are looking for this person, they might be at one of these other Unitels, for lack of a better term right now, and knowing that there are these other like seemingly secret civilizations out in the world, it might be best to ensure that they are also still protected, considering everything that's going on right now. So
For sure.
She'll keep that map. She wants to keep it.
In the last little bit of Shift Weaven that you get, and again, Shift Weaven, it's not a written word, it's more of a shadow rising up and giving you images of these places and translating that information to you. You see for a moment in front of you, hovering, a miniaturized version of Felk, kind of in this bubble. and a little bit of mist kind of rising up around Felk. And you see that in one of the magical barriers that is keeping it safe is that Felk is known to move around the area a bit. It doesn't stay in one space for too long. But on top of that, to ensure that it's kept safe, individuals have to almost attune themselves to this place in order to remember its location and to be allowed to be let back in. It's not just the crystal that Weldor raised to be brought back in. It is a signature of one's soul, as that is what's happening when attunements occur. So it is that. So that may be the added bonus or added kind of security that not everyone that comes into Felk may necessarily remember that they were there.
I think, yeah, Diadora definitely absorbs this information. And, you know, I think just for the sake of everybody knowing things, she will be like kind of saying it out loud so everybody can hear her. I think also with her basic understanding of magic, I think she would know that there are probably ways to get around that kind of thing. So, yes, it's a good safety precaution, but it's not infallible.
1000%. 1000%. Blackstone, you see that sealed envelope at the
I
back.
open it.
You open it.
I'm gonna open it and see what's in there.
Inside, on... It's not even paper. And it's not leaves. It's not stone. It's glowing purple and blue and oscillating between those. It almost warps slightly as you're kind of lifting this up. Both of you are kind of seeing, whether you're kind of looking around or otherwise, it looks like Blackstone is holding what appears to be magical ether that's been imbued with, I'm going to tell everybody here because you have a high enough spiritual connection, an essence of some spirit magic has been imbued into this. And on it, as Blackstone kind of holds it out, you see almost like an image pops up, a minor illusion, and you see what appears to be version 1 that's marked Blackstone. It then undulates, and you see the transformation from this stone to stone with metal to stone with metal with wood, then the absence of all that and going back to stone and using stone plus spirit. You see on this your final, your version that you are Blackstone, but you also see next to it there are kind of these tendrils of magic that are going from the left to the right, seemingly Rory unsure of what next phase was for Blackstone. You see one version that is going more towards the stealth side, with the reasoning behind it. Blackstone's purpose: retrieve information, as well as emergency spiritual mending. You can, as a reaction, you will be able to mend up to 5 spirit points for you or for one of your comrades in battle.
Oh my god, that's so fucking cool. Oh my god, that's amazing.
That's awesome. Cooper agrees.
That is perhaps the reason why, Blackstone, you have had this affinity for mending this entire time.
Not only just affinity for mending, but affinity for doing all the experimentation with spirit to begin with.
Exactly. That's one path.
Mm-hmm.
The other path. This one is more stealth as well, but more assistance in battle from afar. You can see that there is rather the hope of combining the arcane with some of natural magic. It's music to me. Magic with the spiritual. And if you were to go on this path, you can, as once per long rest, you can use some spirit magic or spirit points to be sacrificed in favor of one spell slot, which you can take from any of the magical lists. You are not bound by class or otherwise.
Holy shit. And sorry, just so I'm clear,
Sure.
Blackstone has to choose between one or the other, or he gets both?
He would have to choose. These are paths that choosing one does not necessarily negate the other from ever being a possibility. But it would mark the next step of where Blackstone is going.
I think seeing Blackstone process all this information.
Like, I'm reading this. Most of this is in silence. And after a while of reading this, I just kind of turn around with this envelope in my hand, and y'all can see the hologram happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I, as gently as possible, kind of pick Corbin up off of my shoulder, and I ask Diadora to hold on to him for a moment.
Hands, just...
And I go, so this is sort of difficult to explain, but well, I suppose, Weldor, we're even more alike than I thought originally.
Kind of smiles at you. I was just about to ask. It's just what it looked like with the shoe on the other foot. Which is, and like I realized immediately, like once again, oh shit, I metaphored. Is more over what it looked like when you were sort of reading me discover and a bit of my origin.
It seems I have a I do not understand where age is concerned, but I have been called someone's older brother. I have a model here that talks about different things I could use to enhance my capabilities. Things that someone has poured years of research into. Things that could potentially, things that could potentially save us all. Maybe. Well, in the event that there's an emergency, there are different schematics for converting spiritual energy into arcane magic. There are ways to mend people's spiritual selves in the same way that we mend our physical selves. There's just so much here. But I know so little of the person who left it all.
I know that feeling. One step at a time, right?
I don't know which of these steps to take.
That's just it.
Honestly, I was going to try to be better at wielding a knife, but it seems that I can do far more than I originally thought with this.
There's no rush either. Unless there's some sort of expiry date or something like that.
Well, I suppose we have some time to think about things, but also, there's the matter of this shop. This is the heart of this place. And if the person who originally ran the shop isn't here, I don't know if that means that I should until they return. I also do not know when the return is.
Or if.
But I suppose if there is one thing that I can do right now, I do know one decision in particular I would like to make immediately. And I would like to, because you said there's like ether and spiritual essence in the paper. If I need to spend spirit points to do this, let me know. But I want to connect to the essence in this paper, and in the hopes that that it can still reach the person that this belongs to. I want to use that as a channel to try to reach this person and tell them, I don't know where you are, but I want you to know that I'm alive.
Okay. You hold the magical ether in your hand. It's undulating with the arcane and spirit energy that it still has remaining within it. Can you make a spirit check for me, please?
Okay.
And I will give advantage because you have Diadora and Weldor at your side.
That is a 21.
21. What does it look like as you're trying to connect?
I think this would be this kind of thing. I feel like it would be like a special occasion thing, so we're going to do something that no one's seen me do. Like, Blackstone at this point is starting to glow a golden color. And I would say comes off the ground just a bit, like an inch or two, like trying to connect with the paper. And there, I think you would also see, Blackstone wouldn't see this, I don't think, being in the moment, but y'all would see like these bits of golden energy with all of these different shapes of possibilities for all the things that Blackstone could be.
That energy floating around. You have to wonder, is that perhaps one of the true natures of spirit power? All of the possibilities of who we once were, who we are, who we will or could be, as you find yourself connecting. You see the back of a figure ahead of you for a moment. It's sun or light that's kind of bouncing off their shoulders, their cloak kind of billowing in the wind. Half-orc, face kind of slowly turning in your direction. but it's almost like the light is stopping all the other features. This is not Carmen trying to block the memory. This is something deeper that is trying to give you a grain of who this person was, who this person is, but also unable to give you absolutely everything that they are. Unable to connect. Spirit energy with what it is one of those things that more often than not leaves a signature behind in our memory, in both objects such as the ether you hold in your hand, to perhaps the creation that you are. And you find that you're not having to search outwardly, but something is pointing inwardly. But you do get a sense that that message, however faint you're able to send it, is received. And you want to, you can certainly do that, Blackstone, if you wish. I know you messaged me. I almost said it, but I was like, you messaged me for a reason, so I won't say it.
Okay. I would say that while you're watching that, y'all would watch the letter basically made out of this pure energy kind of disintegrate and fuse itself into Blackstone's skin.
You see the language, the letter itself melding with Blackstone, but whatever's written on it, it's hard to read because from the way that they were holding it, it's like you're reading it backwards. And it's almost like when water gets upon ink and you see the ink just slowly kind of liquefying. Again, moving from dry to more of an essence. And as the parchment itself starts to just imbue itself into Blackstone, the ink almost acting like a paste to kind of slowly make a small circle around the area where the letter is being absorbed. Whatever the contents of this letter is, both physically now as well as mentally, Blackstone will be carrying the weight of those words. What are the rest of you doing?
How are you feeling?
I have a brother. I have not had a familiar term like that to apply to myself before. Does this mean I have parents? Who are those people? I don't know how this works.
I think family is what you make of it. You don't have to be related to somebody to be their family.
I remember you were telling me this before. I would like to find them one day, but for right now anyway, I have all of you, and that has been good.
When we can, I'll help you find them.
Also, this
Who knows?
functionality.
Let's say, who knows? Perhaps, maybe we're connected much earlier than even we thought.
I also have some very interesting things to consider about what my upgrades are.
Certainly.
Honestly, I was here for a sharper knife, but this seems far more interesting.
Genuinely. I know it's coming in certainly a strange space, but I'm real happy for you.
Well, I think I have time to at least consider which of these things I should do. And I think I know what I would like to do with my decision time.
What's that?
I think I want to help out or repair the shop, and maybe see what happened with these other automatons here. If I'm an admin, that means I have lots of permission for science.
And plenty of space in which to do it in. By the way, what is the rest of you? Well, I suppose this is an idea, but the rest of both of your afternoons looking like so far?
They look like afternoons typically.
Yeah, warm sun, kind of high in the sky. No.
I'm practicing humor.
That
I
was a
enjoyed
good
it.
one. I don't have any plans. I also don't know this place very well to have plans.
Well, I suppose one thing we can do, I know that I believe Tobi ran off earlier to the Druid circles to see what might be happening there. I wonder what he's up to now.
Oh yes, I was going to pick Tobi up from summer camp.
Well, before that then, I should probably get to cooking.
Do you need help?
Need? No. Want? Absolutely.
I'll look to Blackstone and say, are you going to stay here for the afternoon, or?
Well, maybe not the whole afternoon, but for a bit. I have some assessing to do, I think.
Okay. Well, if you're okay with it, I'm going to go Weldor.
I think he sighs like really heavily at this point. Well, before we
know,
separate.
Maybe it might be best if I join you two. I suppose, some things I've been meaning to ask you.
All right.
Okay. I guess we should leave this room first. I'm not sure how it opens or closes.
With the door.
Ada, can you lock this door?
You have admin privileges and are able to lock the door. I am unable to, unfortunately.
Okay.
And you see, Ada has not come into this room, like, at all. She has stayed kind of just outside, just kind of arms kind of crossed, waiting for further kind of commands or requests, just waiting for the moment.
Okay. So I guess just step out of the room, wait for Weldor and Diadora to come out and lock up. And then I go, Ada, can you work on, I suppose, restoring the shop? I don't know who is responsible for cleaning things or organizing things.
You have fully repaired me, so I should be able to now fulfill my functions, which is currently maintaining shop.
Okay.
Step in the right direction.
I am going to head to this place, and I grab like a piece of parchment because it's a bag. Of course I have parchment in here. And I just like leave an address. If there is a need, please feel free to retrieve me.
There will be no need to retrieve. Request permission to telecommunications with you.
Oh, permission granted. This is very convenient. I knew I wasn't the only person who thought that function would be useful.
And you do hear after a moment her voice in your head, a little bit staticky. The connection is not super clear. This is not something that she has especially used recently. So you do get that kind of like almost I'm in a tunnel kind of as she's trying to correspond with you of this will be the way to communicate. Should you require anything further, Blackstone?
I believe this will be sufficient. Thank you, Ada, for maintaining the shop and for being so patient and waiting so long for someone to return.
I am merely following protocol and procedures, but thank you for the repairs and company. And you do see at that moment she does kind of give a small kind of look between everybody, still kind of glaring at Weldor's cart for a moment before returning to a neutral expression.
It's nice to meet you, Ada.
It is a pleasure to meet you too.
Well then, I suppose we should leave Ada to their duties. And then, I suppose when I come back here, we'll figure out what to do with all of the things. All of the things. That's an expression.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Speaking of that, there's been a lot of all the things on my mind, especially today. Apparently, a lot of the infected are alive, but not doing so well. Bit of a recovery timetable is still a bit uncertain. So shortly after I make this fine meal we got coming up here, I'll be heading out to the Grove and see what I can do there. At the same time, and it's got me thinking. I think that I don't know if there's any easy way to say this, but I think our paths might be a little bit more parallel than I initially thought after this. Between making sure that everyone recovers, between Vibrant's reconstruction, and everybody at the camp, there's a lot to do here. My initial plan was to hopefully join you and resolve this plant situation, but I think at least right now I don't think I can.
Parallel. Mathematically, that means we're on paths that will never intersect again from here until infinity. Hopefully that is not what you mean.
No. Quite temporarily, as a matter of fact. Because I certainly do enjoy your company, and want to make sure that whatever this is certainly obliterated.
So,
and whoever the people behind it brought to some level of consequence.
is this similar to Cal and Warrior, who had to stay behind to do a couple of things?
I suppose it feels like that. Though, at least speaking for myself, it as I look at every path, it sort of feels kind of selfish. Which is ironic, I suppose, because we're talking about caring for people. I mean, Diadora, you did mention family is what you make of it, I suppose, or you can choose. This family chose me, and I choose them back as well. Though they weren't my first, they were definitely the one I've been with the longest. But
Can't believe we're Weldor's side family. Got his main family and his side family.
I suppose, in a sense, as far as family is concerned, we did borrow you, and so I suppose, after a sense, it's only fair that we eventually have to give you back. Although, I will miss you.
and I you. But perhaps borrow isn't the right word.
No, we didn't borrow you.
Well,
You're our family too.
It certainly feels that way. I mean, well, there was. Not having known Weldor until very recently, unmaking him a statue, and then returning to a place that he has lived in for several decades, if I'm not mistaken.
That is right. And it does feel strange to use the word family when it's someone that you've only known for several days, but I do feel that way. Very strongly.
I don't think it's strange. I think when you fight together, when you're in battle together, that shows you who your allies are and who aren't worth fighting for. And you've done a lot to help us and to save us. And I think that makes you family, regardless of how much time we've spent together.
He just nods and sort of drinks in that thought.
So, families are not a function of time.
Families are a function of bonds that you create.
Yeah. We sure have created one, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Does that mean we are going to have to argue with the town of Vibrant for visitation rights?
I mean, I'll win.
Yeah.
They'll have to get
will.
visitation rights from me, not the other way around.
Yeah. Though I would selfishly enjoy a good Diadora Eliza duel. I think don't think we'll be needing all that.
Well, I will miss you as well. You have brought a lot of wisdom to our group.
Don't miss me just yet. Got your meal to make, right?
I can miss you even though you're still here.
You know, you speak of wisdom, and I learned a lot from you, specifically. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I'm an old turtle set in my ways. I've always been pretty open and honest with new challenges, but I think in a way you pulled something out of me, and I'll be forever grateful for it.
And I'll be grateful for the things that you've taught me. And when things are taken care of here, I do hope that we meet again on the road.
Never thought I'd miss the road. Damn, have I had a mighty good time.
Well, if you're going to have to go somewhere, then I'm going to have to make a very long list of recommendations. The first of them is, do you have a personal item that you would like to share?
Matter of fact, I do.
Well, then that is how we will keep in touch with each other. I have not mastered sending yet. I've only mastered how to track people via their spiritual energies.
I can write up a quick scroll if you'd like. I actually just gave one to Tobi.
Oh, okay.
And actually, I'm gonna ask you all a favor if you don't mind, and I'm gonna ask you to pick one. And he takes out this small glowing stone in one hand, and he takes out his teapot in the other. One you've seen me utilize a decent bit. One part shield, one part a hell of a teapot. Keeps it warm no matter what. The other's a bit more passive. But if you're a believer in luck, it might do something nice for you.
Out of character, mechanically speaking, the shield is a shield.
It's a sentinel shield.
Oh, so it moves on its own.
No, so a sentinel
no.
shield gives you advantage on perception checks and
Right.
And yeah, and then the stone is actually a luck stone. It's +1 bonus to ability checks and saving throws.
Okay, well, I think Diadora looks at the two and says, "Well, I have a two-handed weapon, so I can't really use a shield."
He smiles. He's like, "Yeah, you're pretty damn good at it too."
And you're pretty good with that teapot.
Yeah, I am.
I will look to Blackstone though, in case. Are you offering one of each to us, or like one that we have to pick? Period.
He's offering both.
Okay. I think Diodora will look to Blackstone and then take the stone.
Blackstone just gives a nod, like using the same reasoning, like a shield doesn't help because you use big swords. So
Yeah.
I need to ask you something. Sorry, one second. It's gonna have to wait. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry, everybody. Things are happening at home. So one more time, Sin. I'm sorry.
I said, because like looking at Diodora, just give a nod that you need to pick up that rock because like you use a big sword, you can't use a shield. I'm not sure if I'm one for shields yet, but I think I'll take it anyway because it makes very good tea.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you. I don't have anything to give you.
You've
Of
already
course
given
you
me a
do.
penny.
I can't tell if Jordan is crying or laughing.
Yes.
Because of
At this
Robo
point.
got me real good. I'm sorry.
My mic works really well, huh?
I'm so sorry.
Perfect.
Toby came back and was like, "I still can't
I have
find
a
the
question
druid
for-
grounds.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something."
That's why I'm
Fucking
crying because I'm laughing.
Ampistrano.
Sorry.
In a nutshell, right here.
The lady of the veil is just gonna go have her moment elsewhere.
Sorry.
Damn.
You would have
Ruined
had
a
to be.
heartfelt moment. Just
I
kidding.
know, right?
You would have had to be here for this. So I am going to spend 2 spirit points, and I am going to make a cloche and give it to Weldor.
Oh,
What is it?
a cloche. It goes like over food, like that little dome.
Really?
Full circle.
Okay. Oh boy, I was not expecting that. It's so nice. And I think he looks at it. That is modest fine specimen.
It is the first thing that I made to protect something rather than destroy it. I thought you might enjoy it because you cook food.
Matter of fact, we can use this right now. We got about 3 hours stewing.
I think Diadora's gonna go into her pack and like pull out a map. That's like a migratory map of like where her tribe goes, and she'll hand it to Weldor and say, "If you ever need help, you can contact or reach one of my people here." And it's like it has like seasons where they would be like in different areas and stuff. So like it kind of like it's not easy to track down, but like easier this way. And like probably has like not that she wrote it, but like names of like her brother and like stuff in the margins, like almost like a note that you pin to a kid's clothes.
Amazing.
Like, if lost, contact.
Contact, yeah.
But
Tag
like,
on a dog.
Yeah, basically. But it's
Yeah.
more so like I told you that if you wanted to meet other turtles, there are some traveling with my people.
Definitely on the list. I also need to pay a visit to Greenwich and see if I can get her back upright as well. A lot to do.
I'm sure they would very much enjoy your company, and they might enjoy a bit of a field report. If you see Cal while you're there, say hello.
I'll do more than that, I assure you.
But,
Actually,
Weldor?
if I give you a letter to take to him, would you mind taking it there?
I'd be happy to.
Weldor?
Diadora.
Don't forget though, when you're taking care of all these other people, that you take care of yourself as well.
Blackstone looks at Weldor for a second, and then also looks at Diadora for a second.
Always a good reminder. I think that's one of the first things you ever said to me. It's good to have a bit of a sequel as a reminder.
Yeah. Especially because I know that you would put yourself out there for others before you thought of yourself, and that's very honorable and noble, but you should also look after yourself once in a while.
It's kind of nod. That's kind of funny about having these books from my folks. Never really had something for me before, but I don't know if that's because I never ever got around to asking. You know.
I don't think it's ever too late to ask.
I'm living proof of it. By the by, you got size. Still got to figure out what the hell happened with Gigan. Might as well get that over with too. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Oh, right. We're all going?
I feel like it would be more amusing that way.
Well, if you feel like it, she's got a lovely outdoor kitchen in the glade. And perhaps we can all share stew together. Maybe that'll soften things up for what could be a strange escalation.
Yeah, I think you probably see in Diadora's face, like, or at least her eyes, like, she is calculating and, like, remembering previous conversations that where Keegan was brought up, like, especially the twins, and she's like, yeah, I think we should all go together. And, like, the tone of her voice is, you're absolutely going to need backup because this person thinks that y'all are together.
Appreciate the backup.
Weldor, I understand that this was given with all the sincerity in your heart, but well, are you sure you don't need this shield back? Just for a bit.
I have another one back home.
But are you going back home before you get to Keegan? I'm
So
just
you suspect that
concerned
I'm gonna need this shield in case things go that level of south.
There is just like Blackstone slowly extending the C-pod to Weldor as he asks that question.
I think Diadora, like, will move to stand in between me, like, I'm the shield, it's fine. I saw her, she's pretty small, I could pick her up and throw her.
You're
And I'm not that big.
I feel that you are definitely more sword than shield, and I don't know if Weldor wants them to see the Lady of the Veil just yet.
That would be my preference. Would be not just yet. Yeah.
I never said anything about killing them, so that's y'all putting words into my mouth.
I have not put a single word into your mouth.
But also, I'm just saying maybe seeing the Lady of the Veil might cause her to, like, rethink some decisions and things that she said in her lifetime. Little fear of death never hurt anyone.
That is one way to say it.
I mean, look at me, I died, and I'm fine. She's not fine.
Theodora looking exhausted and rough.
Yeah, very not.
I definitely meant emotionally.
For sure, but
Completely fine.
Weldor clocks you, and it's just like, you will be.
Well, let's go.
Yeah.
I have to wonder something. How old are you, Weldor?
No, sir. Question I haven't really thought about in a while. Sort of stopped counting somewhere in the 60s, I think.
Well, it sounds like you have quite a while to go. Adventures to have. Possibly even things to learn. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember, but if when you go back to Vibrant, be sure to check on the tree. It is there to help everyone. And I feel like after our adventure at the temple, unless any of those plants that were near that place are still growing there, it should be in a much better position to help everyone.
I'll make sure of it.
Oh, and also, this is less of a question and more of a thing. I have a library I would like to show you at some point.
I do love me a good bit of reading.
It's a lot of reading.
I may not like it as much as you do, but I think I'll be all right.
Theodora tunes out when they start talking about reading. just in her own head now, ADHD style.
Don't let me forget, by the way, before we all head out of here, I'll make sure to send a message to Leo before you decide to head to Jorix after all this. Also, he is a good cat, but don't call him that. He will hate it.
Don't call him a cat?
Yeah.
Is he one?
Tabaxi.
Oh. I could understand why this might be offensive. I will do my very best not to do that.
All right.
And at this point, I'm assuming you all are slowly heading out of the workshop into.
Oh, I thought we've been walking and talking the whole
I
time.
wasn't sure. That's
This
why I
is-
was a bit.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
West Wing rules. You walk.
Yeah, right.
It's not
And
So
West Wing.
many corridors.
And
They
just
never
like
end.
locking up things.
40 minutes.
I know the White House ain't that big.
Right?
You're not wrong. Okay. You all, as this conversation is happening, you find that you're heading back towards near the entrance to Felk, back on that main road. However, instead of continuing straight, you find yourself actually going to the left, where you see kind of on almost like a cliff face, there's a small stone path leading around the bend. Geegan's glade, as you know, Weldor. Geegan doesn't like to necessarily live within the confines of the city, so she very much will push the barrier to its limit in terms of living off on her own, as this is a space for her, but also a space for when things are more serious than the hearth can handle. This is a place of healing. All of you kind of follow this rocky bend. You can see in the actual stone on either side, there's a mixture of clay and granite. Every so often you can see flecks of different stonework that's in this. A lot of this was mined out, carved out, and most likely used as some kind of properties to either create automatons or even some of the metals that were found back at Splinters. And after a few moments, you find yourself in a massive glade. To the left, you see a somewhat smaller version of a weeping willow that's on an island instead of its roots going into the water around it. Again, it has this kind of pond around itself. The water is not as massive as what you were seeing in Belsarian's kind of main area where you were fighting him. It's a smaller version of everything. There is greenery all around as this glade extends forward about 200-300 feet. Open sky above you, which every so often you can see the kind of magic barrier that is holding Felk safe, every now and then casting rainbows of color across the grasses that are slowly moving in the breezes. To the right, you can see that there is a small cottage, and there is what appears to be almost like a stone wall, which you do see currently has a teapot on one of the kind of ends of it. As you see, there's these metal grates over the smoke, and you can see there's bubbling water, some kind of liquid in the distance. You can see Geegan right now is not at her usual spot. Weldor, she is currently, see her hair instead of the usual bun. Sorry, I didn't mean for the music to get ominous. I was going elsewhere.
I was like, well, shit. Let's go.
No.
Let me go back to
Roll this
let,
shit.
let me go back to the blacksmith real quick. Like, I'm gonna need to borrow my sword back.
Nope. That was, it moved to the next one on the playlist and I forgot to skip it. So you see her, instead she has her hair kind of in a almost ponytail on the back, and it's braided, so it goes almost completely, you see the full length of her hair. It goes down the middle of her back past her waist, and you see that she's got a pipe in one hand and she's kind of just looking at the individuals that are in front of her, that have, at the moment, you can see There's leaves. You can see she is seemingly trying to heal. But she does note your entrance. And I have a question for you, Weldor, as it has been a moment. You are in the... you do have some tea that you did procure. It's been a week and I cannot fully remember. Did you pass that to Geegan, or were you still holding on to that?
I passed it to Geegan,
You did?
I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
At that moment, she kind of looks at the three of you entering and kind of waves you over, and you see her kind of quickly leaving to head back towards that kind of back kind of counter area. And immediately the scent of lavender and lilac, and as well as all of you pick up a different scent. It is hard to pinpoint exactly because it smells different to each of you. It's the first scent you had when you became conscious. Maybe it's a childhood scent, whether it's grass or, your mother's cooking or the smell of books. Something that resonates with each of you immediately hits your senses, and it's an underlying scent that is currently in this stew tea. It's hard to tell exactly. But she kind of looks at the three of you. Well, I was beginning to wonder when each of you were going to be coming here, sleeping the day away.
Something like that.
Can
No,
you do an insight check?
Sure, what are you checking on her?
What is she like? Being playful?
Proclamation.
Oh, yeah, no, she's sassy.
Or am I?
Jeez,
Yeah, I was like,
extra.
is she being sassy, or I'm gonna have to fight her? Bitch, I just died. What are you
Also,
talking about? I don't even know you.
I do not sleep. I wait.
Yeah, confirm.
Interesting.
So ominous.
That was classic.
I
On brand.
wasn't aware that we had an appointment with you.
Not really. I was just wondering if I had, would be seeing you around the village a little bit more, but,
Oh, well, we have seen some of the village so far. Well, there are a couple of shops that need a doorstop. There are a couple of automatons that need repairs. There are a couple of statues that need repairs. There's a temple just outside of the town that also needs repairs. There is a guardian in the temple that also needs some restoration. There's a magic circle about 2 floors down that needs to be... There are 15 candles that need to be extinguished. I apologize. It seems to me that you were not necessarily asking for this information. Please continue.
it is good to know, though, regardless. But it's good you're
I
here.
think Weldor lets out a belly laugh you've never heard from him before. Just... Blackstone, you're fantastic.
They seem to be. But it's good you're here, actually, as I do need your assistance. Where is your little druid friend, of course, to?
He's off at the working on.
I believe he is where the other druids are.
The druid training ground.
Right. Precisely.
Ah, makes sense. Well, I'll be wondering if all
It'll
of
be
you will
long
be
after a
heading your
while.
way there eventually, as it's not just a place just for druids to train, it's for everybody, so druids just keep it safe, so to speak.
Kind of a misleading name.
Well, it's druids are the ones that are kind of keeping an eye on the training, so they've got some interesting things in there that I think might be useful for each of you in the coming days. If you...
I think the look on Diadora's face is like, that still doesn't explain why the title is so misleading. Like, I understand, but also you could have called this something completely different.
Sure.
That's like, that shows on her face in like a second. It's like, okay.
We do things a little bit oddly here in Falk, I do agree. But if you continue on the path that you're currently on, it could prove to be useful there. But I do need your assistance. We can do it without the lovely little druid friend. You were onto something, Weldor, with this tea.
Hopefully, in regards to trying to bring people out of their stupor, I suppose.
But it looks like it's missing one ingredient.
All right. What might that be?
So what you're doing, you've got the thread, which, wonderful, fits with the tea perfectly. You've got the elements here to kind of bind spirit. But in order to assist someone in that kind of venture, you must give something up in order to do it. So usually you have to infuse this kind of mixture with some of essence of your own spirit. To rejuvenate somebody else, you must, even if it's a small portion, give something of yourself.
All right. Good to know.
So, happy to show each of you, as you know, it may be useful in the coming days.
That I believe I know how to do quite well.
I'm
But,
curious. I would like to know.
Sure. You're welcome to step over to me, and she kind of gestures to the pot. And you see she kind of reaches out her hands, which glow white and then with essence of red and an orange, almost like a sun, as she kind of just, it's over this flame. She touches the pot, and you don't see her grimace, you don't see any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And why don't each of you roll a spirit check for me, please?
Seven.
15.
7. Diadora, you're still thrown off by that name. It's just, it's weird.
That's bothering.
Yeah, I am also just like,
What
I
are we
have
rolling?
so little spirit
Spirit.
left. I don't.
17.
17.
Nice.
Okay, anyone that rolled a 15 or higher can see that for a moment Gagan shuts her eyes, and for a moment when she opens them back up, they are a cerulean blue, the irises. And you can see for a moment it's not steam that's rising out of this pot. You can see kind of moving ever so slightly, very reminiscent of those little trails of magic, spirit energy you saw in those bite marks that Eliza and so many others had, kind of drifting in the pot, moving around slowly. Yes, fair.
What do I see? Are there any like pretty flowers that caught my attention?
You see a gorgeous, like, bit of lilac and lavender that are like kind of drooped over the pot, not quite fully in, not burning just yet, but you're like, well, it's doing a thing.
It's so soothing. I'm falling asleep. I'm getting sleepy.
Sidebar really fast.
Yeah.
Jordan, is there room for perhaps another pot on this?
There is.
Thing?
You can see there is definitely room for you to do that. And she kind of, like, you see a slight eye roll, and then goes back to showing Blackstone this if you are going to be starting up the stew, so to speak. She does give you, like, just the very sarcastic, and again, that's very much Geegan, just like, yep, I know what you're doing, I'm just going to give you a little bit of shit for it, kind of thing.
By the way, I heard through the grapevine that you may be a bit miffed at me. Is that an accurate statement in truth at all?
I can't say it is. Who?
Insight check.
Sure. Go ahead.
He's just like, I can't say it is. I'm like, sure you can. Those are words.
I mean, you can, you just won't. There's a difference.
I love Weldor so much. 27.
Okay. She doesn't seem miffed. She seems genuinely surprised as I rolled one higher than you. Actually, I rolled a 28.
Fuck, really? Amazing!
I didn't roll. I'll give you that because this is your last episode for now, so I will do that for flavor. I will tell you. Yeah, just by one. She does actually
Jesus.
doesn't seem miffed at you. She seems relieved you're back and that you're okay. She seems surprised slightly, like her eyes have a question mark that perhaps you know this information and where this information is coming from, but you can see like the briefest of moments of just a little bit of surprise, a little bit of a oh fuck. It's very slight.
Surprised that I'm asking this question?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'll give you that because we were one off. I'm gonna give you that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And like, he doesn't say this out loud. He's just like, me and the twins are gonna have a bit of a chat.
She turns her attention back to Blackstone, and you see her lifting one of her hands from the pot itself and kind of quickly grabbing one of the threads that's moving in the mist, and you see her kind of quickly almost tying the threads together, and as it does, you can see that the beams of light connecting the knots are the same color that she's emitting. Her very essence, her spirit is kind of being poured into this mixture. And so these knots that are being tied together, she is the kind of glue that is making sure that everything takes place. And after a few months,
I don't see this, so just like she's doing weird shit in the steam.
Yeah, it looks
Can
like
I
she's
just-
like spicing up the steam.
Can we offer Diadora a bit of help here?
Sure.
Just kind of
Spirit sunglasses, maybe?
So what I
Some
so
contacts.
basically,
My contacts are dry.
Yeah.
basically because I know what this stuff looks like, it's kind of like, oh, this is interesting. Those look like those, like the essence of those things that we saw that were being drawn into the crystal. I like, but they don't look like little butterflies like the previous ones did. And that's the way that I would like to offer that help action, is to like describe what we're seeing so Diadora knows what to look for.
Oh my god. I rolled again, I got a nat 20. I see everything.
You see it all.
Yeah, the shift weave kind of shifts things into perspective a little bit, adding shadow to the essence that is some of the spirit magic, making the silver and the red kind of pop out a little bit more as kind of just the nature that you are, Diadora, is tapped into what's going on. And so after a few moments, you see instead of pouring the tea out, she ends up kind of pulling the thread and putting it into a small teacup that's not made of glass, but instead made of rock and stone. And you see she puts every now and then bits of like lavender and rosemary around it, kind of giving it. And you see that she has a small tray with just enough for the individuals that are there. She also goes ahead and she puts in 3 small vials, which you will be able to take with you, this concoction. So you will have 3 basic charges of this kind of potion, so to speak, which is a spirit rejuvenation potion. And you see, after a few moments, she does head over to, you see Eliza, Chimera, several of those that were injured or infected, and kind of leans them up to give them the tea. And after a few moments, you see a little bit of the light kind of emitting. She seems to be casting like a basic cure wounds to kind of just help make sure it takes into effect. And immediately you can see that the color is starting to come back. They have a road to recovery, but they're already looking a little bit better.
If she's like expending like an individual like cure wounds on all of them, he's going to cast mass cure wounds.
Okay.
And just let me help with a bit of the collaboration. First step tea, second step this. And the sort of the smells sort of double in intensity, and sort of that shockwave of healing light and energy emanates throughout the space.
Sure.
Ooh, this tingles.
And you see at that point, each of them, like I said, the color kind of comes back, a little bit of more awareness. Like you see the tabaxi that you were speaking to previously in the Unitel, having just a little bit more awareness. Now is having kind of that moment of, if you were ever studying for finals for an extended period of time, kind of just that days after you've actually completed the final of just like, okay, I'm up, what do I do? kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know that their journey to full recovery is going to take some time, but they seem to be out of any immediate danger. And after some time, the stew is made. Weldor, is there anything else you would like to do before we head out of here for tonight?
You'll kind of look at all of them, and there's, as much as there's satisfaction in his mind and his heart, there's still that tinge of there's so many people that are missing. But he'll sort of swallow that for now. Hope you're all hungry.
Yeah, I could absolutely eat.
Yeah, I bet. And he'll wrap up his brand new beef stew recipe.
And for the remainder of the afternoon, stew is had. Some more answers have arrived for each of you today. As your paths ahead, maybe not completely decided, but you all are charting your own courses. And while there is a separation that is happening, you know it's not forever. The question about the lives that we leave and the legacies that we leave behind, maybe not at the forefront of your minds, but as you all take your next step on this adventure, with some big decisions needing to be made by some, that is where we are going to end our episode for today. I know, I really didn't want to say that.
We're gonna keep playing, so Duval can't leave.
I know.
Oh,
sorry.
Man, that was not what I was expecting. Oh, good stuff.
Remember to sign the petition that Fluffy came up with.
There's like 7 signatures. You guys are ridiculous.
Listen, people want you to leave.
Lord have mercy.
Thank you so much. We're gonna be back here next week with Dimples. And Duval and I will chat. We've got some ideas and stuff in the works.
I will be bullying Duval every day until he comes.
I'm gonna hold you to that because I tried and it didn't work.
I believe it. It's not that it didn't work. Stop it. I think it is important. I do want to say, genuinely, and this is to everybody on the cast, anyone that's worked on anything back behind, whether it's a GM screen or lore keeper or modding. It's not just obviously like Diadora telling Weldor to take care of themselves. And it's also something we should probably keep in mind for ourselves too. As someone that is coming, me personally, out of a bit of a burnout spiral, it is always a good lesson. And I think it is, if there's anything that I, with this journey with Weldor, want to leave everyone with, it's to check on your strong friends and don't forget to take care of you too. And genuinely, thank you all so much for your support. It is overwhelming in the best way.
And I know we tease, but we are happy that you're taking that time for you to reset.
Yeah.
That's tough. But let's go around.
I'm a little younger than Weldor, so I got a little bit more spry in me.
Yeah, a little bit. Before we head out of here, let's tell everybody who we are, where we can be found, and the amazing ways that we can be supported. For the last time, for now. Duval. I'm gonna cry. Fuck you.
I didn't even do anything yet. My name is Jacob Plick, Duval King Jacob on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, and wherever other places you can find me, myself, and I. You can find me at my home away from home, the Amphitheater. That's the Twitch channel that I co-founded. On a bit of a break right now, but we'll be back in the fall with some new things in store, but maybe some intermittent video game streams and stuff like that. Also, the DM of Duval and Dragons bi-weekly Sunday on Twisted TV/so many games, a bunch of other shows and things that I'm up to. And if you're coming to Big Bad Con, yell Duval really loud. I'll come find you and say hi. And I'm doing a bunch of panels too.
Yeah. Thank you, Duval.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you. Our resident automaton who has some big decisions to make.
I have,
Finn.
you know, like I came here to make, like, to hopefully have fewer decisions to make, and now I have an additional 2 other than the 5 I came in here with. That's great.
Love it for you.
Hi, so it's me, your resident sunflower being, who has been Blackstone today and has had to deal with complicated feelings about, like, what do you mean I have family members? And or like see also the next 10 episodes of, oh, this is why you humans are strange. I think I get this a little bit better now. So there's that. Right? You can find me in all of the places that a sunflower can be found, whether Twitch or on socials, most of them being Zinziak. Except for Twitter, which, girl, while supplies last, I guess.
And is there anything else you wanted to signal boost? Don't you have something happening tomorrow?
I do. I said it was at 6 p.m. earlier. It's at 7 p.m. With the good people of Emporium who are going to be playing like Family Feud. It's not my VTuber debut, but if you would like to see me in like PNG tube form, you can do that tomorrow while I'm answering questions, and probably shenanigans ensue.
For sure. Thank you so much, Sin. The true owner of the channel. Again, I'm just here. Fair.
Hi, I'm Farron. I've been Diadora Shadesun. You can follow me on socials at Fairbear. No, I don't want you to follow me on Instagram. Twitter and Blue Sky, I use them both equally, which is barely at all. So it's fine.
We love that for
you. If you want to hear the sound of my voice, you should check out Taking Initiative Season 3, Sword and She, where I am a player character. And that's about it for me. You will not see me at Big Bad Con. You can call for me and I will not answer or find you.
Fair law. Yeah. Hi everybody. I've been your storyteller. Sorry.
I have another announcement. Fluffy says that if we get 20 signatures on the petition, she will personally bully Duval into staying. So get your signatures on that form, y'all.
I fucking can't with y'all. I have been your storyteller, your producer, and just overwhelmed at just the amazingness that is this group. Always. You will find me at Big Bad Con. I'll be on a couple panels. And I'll be returning to normal streaming in a couple of weeks as I get ready for this move to be happening.
Let's go.
I'm super excited.
Go out of there.
Want to again
Preach.
plug our Patreon, which thank you, Lamia, for poking in the chat. We are 2 followers away from our all familiar one shot, which is really cool. And we also have some other things in the works. Please go follow us on YouTube, TikTok as well, because my goodness, we have some hilarious TikToks in the works. So please consider supporting us. It does help support the cast as well as this incredible team that I get to work with. But yeah, we're going to be back here next week with Dimples and Dice. And hopefully back with
The moist heat.
Oh, I hate it here already. God,
AKA Damp Daddy is what he's been
Yep,
going
yep.
on the Discord.
So good. What a mess.
And hopefully
I asked who was Moist Mom and nobody answered me.
Jordan.
Nope.
Jordan.
Nope, not me. Nope. We'll hopefully be
Somebody.
back with our lovable little druid or no, I'm not even looking at chat anymore. I hate it here. Anyways, we are gonna get out of here and go raid somebody. So thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. Take care, and we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.